this whole fucking world apart.
You do not want to mess with me, the American Giant. You do not.
Swag. 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 Welcome to the Death Hour, everybody. I hope you're staying safe out there, washing your hands. Fuck you, Corona. You can't stop the Death Hour. Let's bring in our guest this evening. He really doesn't need a fucking introduction, because you know who he is. It's Adam fucking Bueller. What's up, bro?
What's up? Thanks for having me back.
Hell yeah. You're only the second person to come on this show twice, man. You and Jeff Waldridge.
That's pretty all right. I was actually on the podcast earlier today, and I was the second person to come back on that for the second time, too, actually.
Oh, shit, you were?
Yeah, that's actually kind of funny.
So it's a podcast kind of day for you, huh, Adam?
It seems like it, yeah. It was. We were supposed to do it over the weekend, and then she decided, well, like, if I'm not busy, which who is right now, it's like, we'll just do it today. And I was like, all right, as long as we're done before 9 o'clock.
Now, are you in quarantine right now as we speak? Are you locked the fuck down, unable to leave?
Dude, I've never left quarantine. Like, this is just another day for me.
You stay in quarantine.
Right. Like, everybody's freaking out that they can't go out and do anything. And it's like, I didn't go out and do anything anyway. So,
Right. Welcome to fucking Bueller's world, everybody. I got a quick question,
Pretty much.
everybody. Could you guys hear the music that was playing before we came on? It wasn't playing on my end on my phone, so I don't know. And can you guys hear me right now? So please comment. Look at Cody Hunter. He's not gonna waste no time, Adam. Look at this.
See, asking how big Batista's dick is.
Yep. So American Giant dodged this question. I tried to ask the American Giant the size of his package. He fucking told me I was inappropriate. He told me to fuck off, basically. So we want to know. Well, I don't really want to know, dude. But Cody Hunter wants to know. He really wants to know too. He's been talking about this all day, Bueller.
Like Batista's?
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was asking your size. I guess
That's why I was wondering. Yeah, because the way that you led into that, it sounded like you wanted to know. Like, you can just privately message me if you really want to know that bad.
Okay, my bad.
That much.
I'm trying to make Cody look bad there. My bad. He wants to know Batista's dick. It's this coronavirus in the air. It's fucking with me, man.
All right.
Yeah, that's a dumb question. That's kind of a troll question. You don't have to answer that. Cody McCulley. You know him, man? Do you fuck with Cody McCulley?
Honestly, I don't. I'm really bad with names, so like maybe I don't really know. So
he's a
like
Deep
Cody
South.
Hunter I see on here a lot, but I know like didn't he? Wasn't he in one of the Deep South shows recently?
Yeah, he was one of the guys that created the shoot style, baby. He was punching little Donnie when Kevin was screaming, "Shoot style, baby!"
Oh, that was the one that he was punching little Donnie with.
Yeah, he wants to know how's all the medical stuff going, man.
Medical stuff's going well. I mean, I assume it's going okay. So I wrapped up my treatment a few months ago, like early total treatment, just what I was in the hospital for, like undergoing chemo and observation, all that kind of stuff. So all that seemed to go good. Now, my understanding is that I was supposed to come back because after I left, I had to come back for another appointment. Um, at that point, I left with the understanding that my I was going to be called back down for another bone marrow biopsy, and then based on how the bone marrow biopsy went, that I would either need to undergo more chemo to try to get me into remission for the leukemia because they can't give me the transplant until I'm in remission. So either I'm in remission and or either I'm not in remission and they have to give me chemo to put me in remission, or I'm in remission and they have to keep me under chemo once in a while to kind of keep me in. Either way, I'm gonna have to do more chemo. And then if I'm in remission, when they find a donor for the bone marrow, then they're going to do the transplant at that point. That was early February. I've yet to receive a phone call about any of this stuff. The only thing that I've gotten is a letter in the mail saying that they are actively looking for bone marrow donors. So my assumption is that they may not move forward with anything until they know that they have donors available and all that kind of stuff. Or it could have something to do with all this coronavirus stuff going on too. That because they don't want to give me a bone marrow transplant while all this coronavirus is going on, because once you get a bone marrow transplant, you have no immune system whatsoever until you recover.
Mm-hmm.
So if I got coronavirus after I got this transplant, I'm gonna die. So I'm pretty sure that they're just kind of waiting for all this to kind of pass over. I assume. I don't know, because I honestly haven't really heard anything. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm probably going to call them tomorrow and find out exactly what's going on, so I'm not just assuming. But that's where I'm at with health and everything. I feel perfectly fine. I'm just waiting for the next step and everything.
Yeah, it seems like you can't catch a break, man, with all this fucking shit that's happened to you.
Well, I mean, it
A,
seems like the
a
only
lot
thing
of
I can't get a break with is just wrestling. Like, I would love to be able to come back to wrestling, and I was about to, but then I ended up getting sick. And if it wasn't this, then it would be coronavirus. Like, I shared a meme recently. I took the scene from Anchorman, and I just changed it to, I know this sounds harsh, but God does not want you to wrestle, because that's basically how it feels like.
yeah, fuck. It does feel that way for sure. So a lot of people, your last interview was before the shit was called the Death Hour. It was just kind of a Facebook Live in the group. It wasn't even public. This is public. It's going to be shared by a lot of people. Do you want to talk about you were diagnosed with HIV December 2018, correct?
It was right around that, yeah. It was either like late December or early January, but it
Now
was
this was
within that month.
before all this latest scare, right? This was way before
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so like, man, what were your feelings when, like, the very first time a doctor or whoever told you this news that you were HIV positive? Like, what kind of feeling was that? Because a lot of people don't get to feel that kind of shit. We can only imagine it, you know?
I mean, the first thought that went through my head was, "Oh my God, wrestling is over for me." Like that was my first concern. It wasn't, I mean, which it should have been. Who have I been in contact with? Who could I have given this to? I mean, those were very close second thoughts, but first thought was, "Oh my God, wrestling's over for me," and I just cried. Like I couldn't hold it in, like, because wrestling's pretty, like, to all of us that are involved, wrestling's very important. And I've been doing it for 15 years, so it was a very big blow that I wouldn't be able to do this anymore, because I didn't think that I thankfully I was able to kind of destigmatize a lot of people, but my first thought right away was, yeah, wrestling's done for you. But then, yeah, after that, I was like, okay, who could have given this to me? Who could I have given this to? Which thankfully, it was nobody, which is incredibly remarkable, because I didn't know this when we did this last time. Last time I was on with you guys. In between then and now, I was actually able to find out when I contracted HIV, which is actually about a week within the anniversary. I actually, come to find out, I've actually had this since 2013. Because I've gone through old Facebook posts. I found a post that I made where I showed symptoms. I didn't know it was symptoms of HIV at the time. I just thought I had a flu that only lasted for a day outside of flu season, which I thought was weird. But yeah, considering I started doing death matches in 2015, and I did them for 2 years, all of 2015, well, not 3 years technically, all of 2015, 16, and 17. It's a wonder that I never gave it to anybody, but I've also learned a lot more about how it's transmitted, and it isn't transmitted through blood outside of the body quite as easily as what a lot of us believe. It can certainly still be transmitted that way. So it's still, I mean, I'm not a religious person at all. I'm pretty openly Satanist, if anything, but I mean, I would consider it a blessing that I never gave it to anybody, considering how much I was bleeding. Never gave it to anybody through sexual contact too, thankfully, which is how I contracted it. It wasn't anybody that gave it to me through wrestling, because I wasn't bleeding when I got it. But yeah, it was just crazy to think that I had it for that long and didn't know. But yeah, those are my first thoughts, were just, how could I have gotten this? Who could have given it to me? Who might I have given it to? So it's not something you want to hear. Let's just say that you definitely don't want to be told that you have HIV.
Mr. Bueller, can you see comments popping up on your screen at all?
Not on mine, but I am right in front of my computer, so I can actually just go to the video, and then I would be able to see the comments that are left on there. So
Cody Hunter, he wants to know, anal cunt song. Do you have a favorite anal cunt song? He said you're
I
a
actually
deathmatch
don't
guy,
listen.
so don't even try to act like you don't listen to them. That's what he said.
That's fair. I don't actually listen to anal cunt. I love grindcore, but I don't like anal cunt. I don't like the low production value, which is a lot. It's a lot of people that like grindcore. The low production quality stuff, that's like kind of the thing that they're into. Like, that's why they love grindcore. But I don't know. I don't really get into anal cunt that much. I tried listening to them a long time ago, and it's not my thing. I think their song titles are very, very funny though. So I can answer him with what song I think has the funniest song title, which in my opinion is I Sent Concentration Camp Footage to America's Funniest Home Videos. It's a personal favorite song title of mine.
That's funny. So, what kind of backlash did you get when this was, unleashed on social media? And like, was it like the Wiggy girl that first with that podcast? Didn't you do like an interview with some girl? I think her name's Wiggy. I might be wrong on that.
Yep,
and
that's actually who I did the podcast with earlier today.
Oh, really? Okay. So that was like when everyone kind of found out about it, correct? You didn't post about it, did you, on your social media before that?
No, I did. So I
did you?
waited about a month, because it's a lot to process. It's a lot to take in. So I wanted to make sure that I was in a position to where I would be able to handle any kind of backlash that came from it, or that I would be able to just mentally kind of be okay with the fact, and then basically to a point where I had accepted it, basically, before I told anybody else about it. When I was told about it, it was two very good friends of mine that were in the room with me. They left the room when they told me that I had it, but they came back in shortly. But my friends, he used to wrestle under the name Tony X. Another friend of mine, he still wrestles. His name is Jake Oman. They were actually there in the hospital visiting with me when they told me that I had it. And so when they came in, they were the first ones to find out. But beyond that, until I let everybody else know, then my girlfriend's watching, and she just messaged me saying I'm adorable. She has low standards, but that's why I was chuckling at now. But yeah, so they were the first ones to know, and the only ones to know for a long time, other than like my son's mom and people that I felt I needed to tell immediately. I waited about a month to let everybody know. I addressed it on my social media, and I didn't really get any backlash so much. I mean, all the backlash that I got was from people that found out about it through either the article that was posted about me, one of probably, I think, a few articles that were posted about me after I did that podcast, and there was a Reddit post that was made about me. And a lot of it just came from all the backlash was mostly people, I think, had the impression that I knew that I had it and that I was going out and wrestling death matches knowing full well that I had HIV, which certainly wasn't the case. But I think that's where a lot of their criticism kind of came in from. That and, the typical deathmatch stupid, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. That was the thing that I think I hated reading the most, is that it felt like I kind of, I set deathmatch wrestling back a little bit, which it did not want to do. It just kind of seemed like I gave deathmatch wrestling a black eye. So that I didn't feel very good about at all, because since long before I started doing it myself, I've always loved deathmatch wrestling. So the last thing I wanted to do was to harm its image or reputation in any way. But really, I didn't really get any backlash from anybody that I personally know. It was all just kind of people commenting on the internet, and people talking about it on Twitter and all this kind of stuff. And thankfully, I liked that a lot of the criticism and backlash came from Reddit, because I had the chance. When I found it, I went on there and kind of responded to a lot of the backlash, the people saying stuff, and I was able to. And I made a post on there, kind of telling my side of things, not in defense, but more or less just kind of giving everybody a clearer explanation of everything. Things that didn't quite come across in the article so much. And a lot of people kind of understood and talked to me and just asked me just different questions, wanting to know more about it, about HIV and the situation and things like that. So in that regard, it was pretty cool that since I found out that I had it, people have been pretty open-minded in terms of wanting to know more about it and kind of listening to kind of what I have to say on it and things like that. It wasn't right away oh, well, he has HIV and he's deathmatch wrestling, so fuck that piece of shit. It wasn't so much that from people. It was more just, okay, we want to know more about this. Can you fill us in a little bit more?
Yeah. Hey, here real quick, Joel White. He says, "Thanks for using my glass at Slave 7. You're the man." I guess you used his pane of glass.
Oh, did I?
Yep, Joe White. He's just saying thank you for that.
So 7, that was, I don't know the numbers, I just know the years. I was there in 2016 and 2017. The pane of glass, I don't remember that so much. I remember it was, I don't think it was the match with Homeless Jimmy, unless it was in the finals. I don't remember doing anything with a pane of glass, actually.
Do you miss Slave to the Death match? That was your thing, wasn't it?
So much.
Yeah.
I absolutely miss Slave to the Death. In fact, I still have this on my keys. I don't know if you can see this. I've kept this with me ever since I went out there. But this is a dog tag that we got from the first Slave to the Death matches that I was in. And on the back of it, it's kind of like my little participation trophy. So I still keep that on my keychain. And another kind of keepsake that I took that was from 2016, a keepsake that I took from the Slave to the Death matches 2017 that I actually keep on my right in front of my computer here on my monitor is I actually took the fork that New Jack used in his match in Slave 2017. He just set it down. He set it down on the table next to him, and I just took it. I've had it ever since.
That's fucking awesome. How was he? Did you get to talk with him at all backstage? Anything?
Not a lot. I went up to him. I introduced myself to him. The thing that we always do. When we meet wrestlers for the first time, is like, "Hi, I'm Adam. Nice to meet you." We were watching a match. We were standing next to each other watching a match at the merch table. I want to say maybe the finals. But he was just kind of hanging out. I was hanging out. He would kind of comment stuff to me a little bit here and there, and I would, kind of comment back to him. That was about the most that we interacted. So guys not so much guys like New Jack because of their reputation, but just guys who have been, who have been as far as they've been in the business, guys who maybe they had a good career on TV, or just guys who are a lot more well known, who are on the shows that I'm on. I'm always really intimidated when I'm in a locker room with those guys. The most that I'll do is "Hi, I'm Adam, nice to meet you," and it's almost unless they come up to me and start talking to me for some reason, there's not really going to be any interaction. Just because I don't know, like I almost want to say it's like a feeling of being starstruck, but it's not. You know what I mean? Like it's a hard feeling to describe, really. Um, and a lot of it, I have social anxiety really bad with people that I don't know, so that plays a role as well. Like I'm super comfortable in a locker room with people that I know, but if I go to a show by myself and I don't know anyone in the locker room, I'll probably come off as like the most antisocial douchebag you've ever seen in your life. And it's not because I'm like being a douche. It's just I'm so nervous to like talk to anybody or say anything to anybody. So yeah, I didn't really talk to New Jack very much. I talked to him more than I thought I would, but not really very much.
We had him on last week, and he wasn't answering many questions for me. He was very short
I caught
answered. I don't
that.
know if you've seen it. Did you?
Yeah,
It was
I
kind of
caught the very end
awkward.
of it. Yeah, it seemed like if it wasn't a chance for him to tell you to buy the book, he didn't want to answer it.
We were supposed to have the sound effect "Buy the book, New Jack," but we haven't had it made yet.
That would have been pretty good,
Okay, I gotta ask you this, man. You spent some time in hospitals.
unfortunately.
Any crazy stories you could tell us? One weird story? Any weird nurses like from Kill Bill with one eye patch? Any crazy shit that's ever happened, man? And
Not
yes, we're
really.
playing the Kill Bill whistle music right now in the background.
Not really. I mean, for the most part, the nurses that I dealt with have all been pretty cool. I've dealt with some that were, I don't know, for lack of a better word, just total dipshits. But I mean, that would be pretty few and far between. It was pretty rare occasion when there was like a nurse that was like unusual in any way or anything like that. Basically, it was either they either did their job and they were nice and they were perfectly fine, or I thought they were fucking stupid. But yeah, for the most part, nobody really stands out as far as nurses go. There was one dude when I was in Indy the most recent time. I found out he was a wrestling fan, so we kind of talked a little bit about that. Um, but yeah, for the most part, like people will find out that like the nurse will find out because it comes up a lot. They'll ask me why I have so many scars on my chest and my arms, and I'll have to explain that. And then that usually leads to me pulling the phone out and showing them like a highlight video, and then they leave thinking that I'm a psychopath. But beyond that, no, like it's same as anybody else that goes to the hospital. I would say I had a pretty similar experience compared to anybody else.
Eric, he wants to know, speaking of grindcore, do you like Rotten Sound from Finland?
I do actually. I haven't listened to Rotten Sound in a long time. I got into them around 2003. I think was when like a buddy of mine I had through like an AOL chat room. He introduced me to them. He hooked me up with like a lot of grindcore bands that I hadn't heard at the time, and Rotten Sound was one of them. And yeah, they're the shit. Like I got into Rotten Sound and Nasum around the same time, and so I kind of always like I get the two of them mixed up a lot. But yeah, I fuck with Rotten Sound. They're pretty good.
Neil Cutter, he says he loves you, man.
Fucking love Neil, man. Miss the shit out of you, Neil.
So what are your trainees back in the day? Marty Jannetty, is this true? I don't know if we talked about this on your last show. Did you?
Trainees or trainer? Because I certainly
Was
didn't
he? I
train
mean,
Marty
trainer.
Jannetty.
My bad. Trainer. Did he train you?
No,
I'm
no,
fucking
not at
up
all.
left and right today.
No, Marty Jannetty, I didn't have any training with him. I wouldn't even really so much say that I did a seminar with Marty Jannetty, but I wouldn't say that I've done a Marty Jannetty seminar. I can really, really quick, I can give you a perfect explanation of how, or a recap of how that seminar went. So Marty Jannetty was booked on the show, so the promoter was doing the seminar with him. I ended up doing it. It's supposed to be for an hour long. There was maybe 12, 15 of us somewhere in there, more than 10, but less than 20. And so he gets us all. He's standing in the middle of the ring. We're all sitting around the ring, up against the ropes, inside the ring, just kind of sitting down. And that seminar was more or less listening to him talk for about 50 minutes nonstop. And then when he realized the seminar only had about 10 minutes left, he very quickly got everybody to do lockups and then arm drags. That was it. we all locked up and we all took an arm drag and gave an arm drag, and then it was over. I had been wrestling for 10 years, at least 10 years by this point, so I already fucking knew how to lock up and throw an arm drag. Marty Jannetty's got a good arm drag, though, so that was at least cool. But by the end of it, the promoter came up to me, is like, man, I'm sorry, I'm not going to make you pay for that. So he made everybody else pay for it, but he didn't make me pay for it. But yeah, that was the Marty Jannetty seminar. So if the minimum standard of saying that you were trained by somebody is listening to them rant for almost an hour and then doing a lockup and an arm drag, then yes, I was trained by Marty Jannetty, if we're going to set the bar that way.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's hysterical. Fucking, do you ever see of his weird Twitter posts?
Oh my God. So a little bit I have, because I don't know why or like how it got brought up or anything. Something like, cause I watch a lot of wrestling with my girlfriend. Like when we met, I found out that she's super into like, old 90s wrestling, like the golden era WWF days and everything. So we watch a lot of wrestling together, which is like probably the greatest thing. One of the things I like the most about our relationship is that she loves wrestling as much as I do. And so somehow Marty Jannetty got brought up. Maybe, I don't remember exactly what. But yeah, I told her about the post that he made when he found out that his daughter wasn't really his daughter, and he asked if it was okay if he fucked her or something.
Yeah.
So I told her about that, and then yeah, the one that you just put up, that came up, and I think I was actually at her house. We were actually watching wrestling together when I saw that on my phone, so I showed that to her. So yeah, I for every once in a while I see weird shit that he puts on Twitter, but goddamn, he's a weird dude, man. He wasn't really a weird guy at the seminar either, like at all. I even remember he like walked by, and one time when we were going over our match on that show, and he like cracked a joke and like walked out of the room or something. But he came across as just like, any other dude from back then that you were on a show with. Yeah, that dude's fucking weird. With all this shit.
Yeah, he seems to get wacky at night or something.
Right. Like, he's a weird fucking dude.
What do you think of do you think American Giant is a pussy? Cody wants to know this.
I absolutely do. Yes.
Honestly, I do not like it.
I mean, I never heard of the dude, honestly, before he was on this thing. So I watched it and I thought it was hilarious. But then, watching the clips that were posted about him on the from that show, the whatever show it was that he did. What was it? The leap year show?
Lethal leap year.
Yeah. Okay. So I saw the clips that people were posting, which the only bit of IWA Deep South that I watch is the terrible clips that people post to this group, and I think it's awesome. Like,
do not like it.
That's the only.
It's like a car crash, right?
Yeah, it is. That's the only viewing I do of Deep South.
The Giants in the background screaming right now. Our sound effects are going crazy. He's saying, "Are you fucking serious?"
Like, that dude has two moves. Like, he has the shittiest big boot I've ever seen and chanting USA. Like, that's... But yeah, if you were to ask me if I think he's a pussy, I think even I could probably kick his ass, and that says a lot.
Well, since we're talking about the Giant, and you're a really good friend of the page and this show, I might as well just announce this right here with you that this Monday night, the Giant returns to the Death Hour, but he's not alone. There's several guests that are coming in to fuck with him live. It's going to be fucking epic, so don't miss this, Bueller.
I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to be part of that for sure. I want to see that. I might not participate, but I'm definitely going to watch it.
Okay, everybody's commenting shoot style, baby. Drop your comments below. Adam Bueller doesn't give a fuck. Not a lot of guests are like Adam Bueller. He'll answer anything, isn't that right?
I don't give a shit, dude. Ask whatever you want.
Hell yeah.
Are you?
Hold on, one more.
Honestly, I do not like it.
Sorry, I had to play one more Giant sound effect. You can't hear on the app. I'm sorry.
No, I can't hear him.
You'll have to go back and watch the replay to see all the videos and shit. So Shark Boy, he trained you too, right?
He actually did train me, yes.
Yeah,
like
he was your trainer.
Talk for 50 minutes and teach me an arm drag. Though he did teach me arm drags, yes. Yeah, no, Shark Boy is who actually trained me.
He taught you a style, didn't he?
Which a lot of people are like perplexed by. What's that?
He taught you like a lot, right? Because I feel like sometimes like
he taught me way more than walk up and arm drag.
Like I could see little shades of you in Shark Boy when you have non-death matches back in the day, like 3 years ago and shit.
I don't know how you see that, but
I don't know. I just something about it.
But yeah, no, like he. So I wrestled for a year without really actual training, and then so 2004 is when I first started. 2005 is when I joined his school. So I was still wrestling while I was being trained by Shark Boy. And, but yeah, basically when I say that he trained me, I mean that he took all the things that I was doing wrong and he basically taught me the right way of everything. So I didn't necessarily go into his school with a clean slate, but I wasn't trained properly when I went to his school. So yeah, he's 100% credited with like training me. And if I do something the right way, it's because he taught me how to do it the right way.
That's awesome. Are you still in contact with Shark Boy like in 2020?
Not really. Not a lot. And it's not because, I mean, it's just one of those things where like we never really stayed in contact much to begin with. Like, I mean, you know, when we see each other, you know, it's great. We get along super, super well, but we're friends, but we're not friends that like contact each other necessarily. Like we're super happy to see each other when we see each other. And every once in a while, like I'll comment on a Twitter post that he makes, but that's about it. I think the last I said something to him on Twitter, asking him like, you know, why he didn't do the sharpshooter and called it the shark shooter or something stupid like that. But beyond that, yeah, no, the only time we've ever really contacted each other or the only time we've had any contact is when it was like in person, basically.
Okay. Jesse, he says he doesn't think you could defeat the power of the giant. I don't think he thinks you could defeat
I mean, okay. That's fair. I mean, if he gets people chanting USA hard enough, that might just be enough to do me in. I don't know.
USA and leg drops all fucking day. Okay, Ricky Jordan, he's saying, are you going to book Little Donnie for your upcoming show? Oh, hold up. We haven't even talked about this yet, but fuck it. Let's do it. Here's a post.
I mean, it's as good a time as any.
Hashtag Adam Bueller's Badass Backyard Bash. What? You're making me very happy. Is this going to be death matches? What's going on? You got to give us the lowdown.
So this started as a joke. I want to make that perfectly clear. As with most things that I do, it started out as a joke. So like, you know, it's just people were posting all the time. This show got canceled. This show got canceled. This show got canceled. Every show's getting canceled. So I made the joke, you know, if any more shows get canceled, I'm just going to say fuck it and run a backyard show. Well, half hour later, I've got somebody trying to set me up with a ring, and I've got like 20 people wanting to do it. So at that point, I was like, fuck it, let's do it then. As soon as we find a spot to do it. So yeah, as soon as the weather gets nicer and once all the craziness kind of settles down, we're gonna do a backyard show, and we're gonna tape it. And we're gonna put it on YouTube for free. Whoever wants to watch it is more than welcome to. I'm not making a dime off of it. This isn't anything for me. This is 100% me just trying to provide something to the wrestling business and to give something back to the wrestling business. Hopefully give fans a fun show to watch and give people who want to wrestle, just give them a place to wrestle, basically. So that's where we're at with it. There were two people who contacted me wanting to do a death match. So if the building, fuck. So if the guy who, the owner of the property that we're going to be doing this at, if he's cool with it, then fuck it. If they want to do it, they can do it. It's actually, some of you guys may or may not know who this person is. So it's Graham Schultz, he was in the Slave to the Death Matches 2017 with me. So and he did a death match with Marcus Crane in Chicago on one of Marcus's shows when he was doing the Viva La Wrestling, I think was what it was.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't remember the name exactly, but yeah, so it's
I
Graham
believe he's in this
that.
group. He's in the group. Yep.
Yeah, and he's in the group too. And so he wants to do it with Aiden Blackheart, and Aiden contacted me, and as long as they want to come out and do that, and as long as the property owner doesn't have a problem with it, then yeah, fuck it, we're gonna do it.
Now, what about the Philadelphia boys, the UWF? Any plans on bringing any of those guys? Mike Fatality, do you know any of those guys?
I mean, if they want to, I'll probably let them. I haven't contacted anybody about doing it, or I haven't made a serious contact to anybody about doing it, except for like a couple of my friends locally. Like guys that I know from around in the area that I'm good friends with that I would like to be there. I asked them as like, and I'm talking about guys who only live like an hour away from me or something. But I contacted them and be like, hey, I'm doing this. It's basically just going to be a bunch of wrestlers hanging out. There's going to be a ring there. I'm going to have food for people, and it's going to be a hangout. We're going to do a backyard show because fuck it, it's fun. Why not? But beyond that, because there's no money going into this whatsoever. Like the ring is free, but I'm not having to pay anything to have the ring anywhere. And yeah, I'm not I don't have any money to put into this. So it's really more up to like, as long as people understand that I can't pay anybody to do this, it's up. So that's why I haven't been really reaching out to anybody. But if people want to come out and do it and just hang out and have fun, I'm not going to turn anybody away. I mean, I'll find something for you to do if you want to come out. So
I can almost guarantee Brian Cummings is going to show up at that event. You know, Brian Cummings.
The name sounds familiar, but
he's
I don't know.
Backyarder.
Okay.
I think he's a backyarder, yeah.
But yeah, and not only that, I had a couple, not just Graham, but I had a couple more people reach out to me from Colorado wanting to come out. And then my buddies, Scotty Ceriti, who does commentary and announcing on a lot of shows out there, and he does it with me at Unsanctioned Pro in Columbus. He's coming out with a couple people, or he says he's going to. So yeah, I mean, we have people from Denver and we have people from New Jersey wanting to come out to this. So fuck, doors open. Anybody who wants to come out. You're probably not going to wrestle unless you're an actual wrestler, but fuck it, come hang out. I don't give a shit. Just don't. I mean, stay home if you're sick. Obviously.
And I'm sorry, did you announce where this is or not yet?
I haven't announced where it is yet. I mean, because I'm not entirely. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where it's going to be. The guy who said that we can use his place, I know roughly about where he lives, but not well enough to where I can tell you it's going to be here. It's northeast Indiana. I live in northwest Indiana, but his place is in northeast Indiana. So it's definitely going to be in that area. If I had the biggest area, like the biggest city that's in that area, I would say Fort Wayne. So Fort Wayne-ish area, unless something changes.
Okay. Eric, he wants to know, Adam, do you think Kevin, who owns IWA Deep South, is really in the KKK? Like, real talk, is he like,
probably? You know? I don't know. He could be. I don't give two shits one way or another. Fuck that guy. I don't think about that piece of shit. It wouldn't surprise me if he is. I don't know.
Shoot style, baby. Cody Hunter, can I just show? Can I show up to the bash in my underwear and get booked?
I mean, he probably won't get booked, but he can show up in his underwear if he wants to.
Jesse, he says fucking Yarder style. Nice. You got people yelling Yarder style, baby.
Yard style. That's how we're going to do it. That's going to be hashtag yard style on everything.
That's fucking hysterical. Can I get your thoughts on Corona? Just thoughts about it?
Yeah, general thoughts about it is, I mean, I've seen a lot of people say that, you know, it's, first of all, I don't think it's like a world-ending, like Black Plague kind of thing. I don't think that at all. I certainly don't want to get it because I think that it would still do some pretty major damage to me. But I think to most people, from what I've gathered, it's going to be like having a pretty severe pneumonia, which is still pretty dangerous. I think the people who are downplaying it and saying that it's not as big of a deal as everybody's making it out to be, it may not be, like I said, world ending. It is life threatening because people are dying from it. It's not just old people. It's not just people who are already sick. It's killing people. It's killing, all different kinds of people. And yes, it's killing those people easier than it is everybody else. But the fact of the matter is that it's still a wide range of people who are dying from it. So I think that the people who are trying to downplay it, saying that it's not anything worth taking seriously or anything like that, I don't think that they're educating themselves enough on it. I don't think that they are taking the precautions that they need to. And that's all it really takes, really. I mean, the sheltering, that's not because it's like I said, it's not like the Black Plague moving or anything. The sheltering is because people weren't taking the precautions they should have been taking before. We're at this point because nobody fucking listened. Because you have half the country who believed a guy who said it was a fucking hoax when news first broke about it being here. And I could talk all day about that topic. We don't want to get into that.
Coronavirus.
But the fact of the matter is, like, I think that a lot of people should have taken precautions a lot sooner than they did. And I think people are just now finally starting to listen when the consequences have, become what they've become. It definitely things didn't have to be the way that they are right now if people would have just listened, and just wash their fucking hands when they needed to, or anything, just different kind of things like that. But, and I think, like, it's causing people to go out and do panic buying, which doesn't help anybody. Like my exact wording that I said when I was talking about it earlier today is that it's definitely put a lot of people under a microscope, and we're definitely seeing what kind of, like, how shitty people can be in this type of situation. Like, this is a situation where we should have each other's backs and we should help each other out as a community and, as a species, really. But you have people who are trying to profit off of it by, buying up as much supplies as they can and then turning around and selling them at like 100 times the price. And those people can, like, fuck off and die. Like, those are garbage fucking people. But yeah, I mean, we should be looking out for each other, and instead, people are just looking out for themselves, which is kind of unfortunate.
So, are you a fan of the empty ring matches that are going around all across the country now?
Not.
Or do you wish they would just say, "Fuck it, wait a few months and come back"?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say, fuck it, don't have any wrestling for the next few months and then pick it back up then. I think that there's a way to do it, to where you can still present it. Like, the way WWE is doing it, I think is awful.
Yes.
It's just so awkward and just so forced. And I had a hard time watching WWE, the current product of WWE already, but now it's like pulling teeth. I did watch AEW. I didn't watch it tonight, but I did watch AEW's last week, their show, and I like how they did it. How they had the wrestlers, like, around the, like, in the where the fans are. Fuck, I can't talk. So there was at least some kind of crowd noise. It still wasn't as organic as, like, a normal wrestling show is, but it was at least something. It was still kind of like a step in the right direction as far as making it as presentable as possible. I didn't watch GCW's empty arena show. I'm going to try to go back and watch that. But I definitely think that don't end wrestling altogether. I definitely think that you can present it in a certain way to where it's still entertaining. I think people just kind of have to think outside the box a little bit as far as that goes. Because what would be wrong with doing it the way, like, the old Beyond Wrestling shows used to be, where all the wrestlers were around ringside and the wrestlers themselves were the fans? Because, I mean, fuck, that's what we're going to do on the Backyard show. So, I mean, I think that would even be better than nothing. And AEW's thing is kind of along those lines, and I think that that's why it made it a little bit more watchable. But at the same time, too, it was pretty rough having these two big debuts in front of nobody. Also on AEW.
Yeah, that was
But yeah,
weird.
don't end wrestling altogether, but just present it a little bit differently. Don't just go business as usual, except there's just nobody here. Find an alternative, figure out some other way to put it on, because no crowd is have something, as a replacement for the crowd rather than just nothing, I think is the best way of going about doing it.
Yep, I totally agree. Let me look at
Please
the next
stay
question
inside,
here.
you guys. You don't understand. Fuck all that. Get your little dirty, fucking grubby, selfish,
Eric.
YOLO, fucking dumb, tattooed faces.
Eric says, do you think people who work for IWA Deep South get paid more than a hot dog? Kind of a weird question. He pays pretty good though, right, Brandon? So maybe you can speak on that.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that about Kevin. I didn't get paid as much as I hoped that I would get paid, but I still got taken care of. And I can't hold, and I even mentioned this on the last one, I can't hold that against Kevin, because we didn't talk about any price or anything. The first words that Kevin and I had spoken to each other were, "Hi, I'm Kevin," or "I'm Adam, nice to meet you." Like, us meeting in person were the first words exchanged to each other. Josh was kind of the person who said, Josh Crane was basically the one who got me booked, and he was talking to Kevin rather than me talking to Kevin directly. I was talking to Josh. Josh was talking to Kevin, and we didn't talk about price or anything like that. So, I mean, at that point, it's like I got paid what I got paid. I asked him for a little bit extra because I had a 9-hour drive back home. So that was really about it. But beyond that, it's like if I had a problem with the pay, then that's on me. I should have talked about pay before I showed up there. So Kevin took care of me at least, and I haven't heard of him not taking care of people on pay. So I would imagine they get paid a little bit better than a hot dog, probably.
Eric, do you think it was weird to see Code Orange play in an empty venue?
I don't listen to Code Orange, and I didn't even know that happened, so I have no idea. Code Orange is a punk band. I don't listen to that punk bullshit. Even though I listen to blind.
Hold on. Oh, sorry, man. The Kevin Brandon sound effects went haywire, and he was fucking really loud. Sorry, bro. Cody Hunter, would you do a Carnage Cup again? That's a good question.
No.
No.
Well, I mean, for two reasons.
Sorry. He said if he offered you blow. You knew there was some crazy weird part to that guy. You don't do drugs,
straight
do
edge.
you?
No, I don't do that.
You're a CM Punk straight edge, huh?
No, fuck CM Punk, dude. Fuck CM Punk. That dude is a fucking dick.
Have you ever done any drugs before, ever?
So my roommates give me a lot of shit. I don't consider this to be a drug at all. I don't think it's a drug whatsoever. But so I was with, I don't know if it's cool to name names or not. So when I was at Crimson Cup in California, in Los Angeles, the first Crimson Cup, I was hanging out with two guys that I like hanging out with a lot, that partake in recreational drug use. Not yet. They smoke weed. Weed isn't a drug. I shouldn't have said it that way. So they like weed a lot. So they were telling me about this thing that you can take. It was like a berry that it changes the taste of certain things. Like if you're like something that's sour, it changes the taste to sweet. And I was like, well, I'm kind of curious about that. I want to see if that works. Spoiler alert, it does. I have no idea what it's called or anything like that. I don't think my roommates give me shit all the time because they say, oh yeah, that was definitely a drug. Wasn't a drug. So that's the closest thing to that. But a year ago. Roughly about a year ago, I had shingles, and shingles is very, very painful. And so I had never felt shingles. I didn't know what that felt like. I'd never had it before. But yeah, it turns out it's really, really painful. One of my roommates, she also enjoys weed quite a bit. So she offered me edibles, like little gummies, like edible gummies, because she thought that would help me out with like the pain I was feeling in the shingles. So I was like, fuck it, I'm in agony, I'll try whatever. So she gave me a couple of those. I tried that. I didn't feel a goddamn thing from it. That's the only thing even close to any drugs I've ever done in my entire life. So, and it basically just tasted like shitty gummies. So
And no alcohol, right?
I have drank once in my life, and that was on my 19th birthday. That's it. And I'm
Yeah.
36 now. So
I don't like alcohol too much either, man. So
I mean,
let's
it's
talk.
fun. I get why people do it, but it's not for me.
Let's talk a little unsanctioned. You do commentary there when they're up and running, and there's no corona fucking this up, right?
And when I'm not in the hospital, yes.
Yep, and when you're with us and not in the hospital, how do you like that job so far, doing that for Derek and company over there?
Oh, I love it. A lot of people don't know this, but me and Derek go back a pretty long way. Me and Derek have been friends since like 2005. But we didn't actually meet face to face until like a few months before Unsanctioned even became a thing. So Derek, I love that dude to death. I all the guys on the roster I get along with that I talk to. There's a lot of guys I don't really know that the same thing I brought up earlier with the social anxiety thing. I don't know a lot of people on the unsanctioned shows, so I'm kind of quiet and to myself. But the ones that I do know, like that I'm friends with, that I'm excited to see every time, like Dale Patrick's, the ref Max Recon, Shane Mercer, Cole Radrick, Sage Phillips, guys I've known for a long, long, long time. I love those guys to death. Like Devin Moore, fucking Everett Cross. Like I'm good friends with all those guys and super, super happy to see them. Those are the only guys I really interact with for the most part. Like there's probably a couple people here and there that I'm not mentioning, but yeah, I like all those guys. It's a solid crew. The shows are awesome. If you have IWTV, definitely check them out. And the shows are awesome live. So it's and me and Scotty, I love doing commentary with them. So it's on the last couple shows that I was on, the recording for the commentary, the recording equipment was kind of iffy. So like it's kind of hard to hear some of us. The only show I did commentary for where there weren't any issues whatsoever was like Unsanctioned 4. And that's because we use Smart Mark Video setup. But yeah, Unsanctioned's awesome. I would very much like it if they booked me to wrestle, which Derek actually tried to when right around, it was supposed to be around January. We had it planned where because everybody's thing with me wrestling was, oh well, he's an HIV risk, which I'm not, but a lot of people think that I am. So nobody wanted to be in the ring with me. Nobody wanted me in the ring, period. So our answer to that was we were going to do, like, after the show was over, we were going to do a dark match. And that was supposed to be my, like, official, okay, I'm done wrestling because nobody will fucking book me. What's the point of trying anymore? So we were going to do like a send-off match kind of thing after the show was over, kind of like a dark match. Best way I can describe it would be like an encore at a concert, or like, when all the shit that keeps happening when Raw goes off the air. It'd be something along those lines. He did a co-promoted show with another company who I guess they didn't want to be liable for anything as far as me being in the ring or with the venue or anything like that. So it got scrapped. I mean, Derek wants me to wrestle. Unfortunately, there's just he can't argue with everybody who doesn't want me to wrestle. Unfortunately, but beyond that, I still do commentary for him, and I still have fun doing it. So I'm gonna keep showing up until unless I physically can't be there. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to be in the ring, but I'd rather be doing commentary than nothing.
Awesome. So big shout out to Unsanctioned Pro, and you can watch all their shows, right? Don't they have all those up on IWTV?
Yep, IWTV, they're all on there. I believe the trial is still going. If you use Unsanctioned for the promo code, I think you'll get at least like 5 days free or something like that, if you're like a first-time user. And if you keep it, and it's worth a 10 a month, trust me. But if you keep it and you do the paid subscription, if you do use the Unsanctioned promo code, I believe that Derek gets a kickback for it, which I know he, along with many other people, could desperately use. So if you're going to get IWTV, use that code and throw Derek some money that way.
Hell yeah, use that code. If you haven't noticed since the Corona shit, IWTV has stepped the fuck up. It's not the same IWTV
Yep.
it even was a month ago because it's crazy right now. They're updating it every day almost with tons and tons of shit. So everybody needs to check that out.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
like it's a massive amount of stuff that they added on there. Like I'm getting notifications on my phone constantly because they notify you when there's a stream happening. And yeah, it's just I would say it's as soon as one show ends, another one picks right back up. And there's like there's actually one of the shows that popped up. If anybody follows like Black Label Pro, the guy who runs Black Label Pro, and he runs in my area, like he runs Crown Point, Indiana, which is like maybe um like half hour, 40 minutes away from where I live. Like it's really, really close. Originally he ran two shows under the name Fight Sports Midwest and in like a roller rink in Portage, Indiana, which is like a town I used to work in, like my regular job. And yeah, they had the first Fight Sports Midwest show on there, which had like Samoa Joe and against Eddie Kingston and like Tyler Black against somebody, I don't know, somebody big. I can't remember. But fuck, I watched Mike Quackenbush beat Tiger Mask for the NWA World Junior Heavyweight title in that building on the second Fight Sports Midwest show in fucking Portage, Indiana. Like shows were crazy. But yeah, no, like that first Fight Sports Midwest show is on there. I don't know if they'll put the second one on there, which they should. And fuck, I mean, everybody here is starting to become familiar with Jeff King. That first Fight Sports Midwest show had Jeff King against Hydra from Jakara. So like that's worth checking out. So yeah, I mean, IWTV is just solid around the board. It's so fucking good. It's well worth your $10.
hell yeah. Eric, what do you think of Matt Hardy and AEW right now? Any thoughts on that whole thing? I don't really watch too much of it.
I don't watch a ton of it either. And like me and Steve Stone, like from IWA back in like 2005, me and him are supposed to be doing a podcast here pretty soon, like a wrestling review podcast. And so I've been trying to get in the habit of watching wrestling, current wrestling on TV right now. So so I watched AEW last week and I saw it, and I was at my girlfriend's house when we were watching it. And I remember I saw the drone. And I made the joke of like, I swear to God, if they're debuting Matt Hardy right now, I'm going to lose my shit. And then it pans up, and in the fucking seats up at the top, there's Matt fucking Hardy. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I mean, I think it'll be all right. I definitely think Matt Hardy's, if he's going to do like that gimmick, I definitely think that it fits better in AEW than it does in WWE. But all in all, it's like, you know, Matt Hardy's going to wrestle somewhere. Like if it's in WWE or AEW, he's gonna pop up somewhere. Like a dude's going to wrestle until he's dead. So either way, I mean, I think it's a good fit. But beyond that, I don't know. I don't really have a lot. I don't have really a lot of thoughts on it.
Cody, he wants to know favorite grindcore band.
Pig Destroyer by a wide mile. Distant second would be Agoraphobic Nosebleed, but yeah, 100% Pig Destroyer.
Awesome. Okay. I want to get your thoughts. Are you okay on time right now? We already hit the 1 hour mark right now. I can't believe we've been here an hour.
No shit.
Yeah,
no,
we have a
as long as you want to
clock.
go, I'm good, man. Yeah, you're not keeping me from anything.
If you're down, just get your thoughts on a few topics that are going around the deathmatch community. Ian Rodden announced Prince of the Deathmatch and Queen of the Deathmatch is making its big return. Do you have any thoughts about that?
I mean, I don't know if he's announced a date when all this is going to happen. I think announcing that sort of thing right now is kind of sketchy. Not like because it's Ian Rotten announcing it or anything like that. Just because if anybody were to announce any shows happening right now, like if anybody were to currently make an announcement about a show coming up, I would say take that with a grain of salt because we don't know how long this shit's going to last. We don't know when people are going to be able to start going to shows again. But I guess if all he did was just to say that they were going to happen, then okay. I mean, eventually they'll happen, or maybe they won't. I don't know. Like things change, things happen. Who knows? I think that it's pretty risky announcing it now. because if they don't happen, it almost just seems like he's setting himself up for scrutiny again, because if they happen, great. Like, you know, there's not going to be any negatives from the shows happening. But if they don't happen, then everybody's going to resort to, okay, it's just Ian Rotten trying to con people again, which may not even be the case. In my history of following IWA and all that kind of stuff, and Ian has always been straightforward with me. Like Ian was never shady with me or anything. So I'm on good terms with Ian Rotten. I mean, we're not as close as we used to be. But I mean, and yeah, he's certainly earned the reputation that he has. But as far as I'm concerned, like, he's always been good to me. So he's always been pretty straightforward with the deathmatch shows. So like, if he announces a King of the Death matches or Prince or Queen or whatever it may be, I definitely think he's fully intending on running it 100%. It's just, when is he going to be able to? When is anybody going to be able to run anything right now? So I definitely think he's taking a little bit of risk just by making the announcement, just because of what's going on. But if he announces it's going to happen, odds are probably going to happen, with the exception of, like, I don't know, that King of Kings tournament or whatever. I don't know what exactly happened with that. But people are going to have reservations either way about attending an IWA deathmatch show. And, you know, I'm not going to say that they're wrong to have those reservations, because they're not. Because there's probably people who still haven't gotten their money back from past King of the Death matches even. I don't really know. I mean, I only know what people post. And I mean, anytime an IWA show pops up, those people come out of the woodwork of people who are owed money by Ian Rotten. But I definitely think that he's intending on running it. It's just, we'll just kind of have to wait and see what happens.
Do you think he should finally allow video recording, maybe, or should he not move with the times? You think he should keep it absolutely no recording in the IWA arena? Because he's one of the only companies, I feel, right now, other than Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, that does that.
Yeah, come to think of it, I don't think I've ever seen any fan footage of a PWG show, which it's weird that I never really thought about that before.
I don't think they allow you to do it in there. I know Beyond Wrestling used to not like it, but they allow you to do it now. It's just pretty unheard of to not allow. Like, he doesn't want your phone out, literally out.
Right.
Keep that shit in your pocket.
I kind of get that too, because it used to be a problem. You know, you would have people that they have their phone out. You don't know how long they've been recording for unless you've been watching them the whole time. You know, for all you know, they're recording entire matches, and then they're going to turn around and post them. And then, you know, if people can watch those online, then okay, well, why would I want to buy the DVD then? I mean, granted, you'll be able to see a better recording of it, but it's still a match that you've already seen at that point. So I get that mindset. I don't necessarily agree with it because, you know, like you said, times have kind of changed with that. People aren't recording full matches. They mostly just want to record little clips here and there. And it's a different time too. You know, nowadays, everything's getting recorded. People are recording everything. Back then, it wasn't quite as common, I guess. So I kind of feel like you have to be a little bit more lenient with that sort of thing. And I wouldn't say, if you see somebody out with their phone, you know, maybe keep an eye on them or something, make sure they're not recording a whole show. But most people aren't doing that anyway. Most people just want to get a quick clip to put it on Snapchat or something, or, you know, whatever it may be. Like, the clips typically don't last any more than like a minute or two nowadays. So I don't know. I kind of think that he could probably be a little bit more lenient about it. But at the same time, I get where he's at. You know, I understand it. So I don't know. It just depends. It depends on your fan base. You know, if you have a fan base where you think people are gonna record full matches or whatever it may be, then yeah, don't let anybody have their, you know, record anything. Or it just goes back to that saying of like, it takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. And unfortunately, that's true. You know, somebody's a piece of shit with something, and then that takes it away from everybody else. But I don't think leniency would be the worst thing in the world.
Okay, as you were talking, we were playing a clip from your match with G Raver at VOW. Do you really like that match? Is that one of your favorite ones that you did in VOW?
That is probably, yeah, that's actually still to this day probably my favorite match that I've ever done. Like, me and G Raver just like gelled so well right off the bat, and that was the first time that we had ever been in the ring together. Like, beyond that, we had been on VOW shows together, and that was about it. so before the show, we kind of rolled around with each other a little bit, not a lot, but just kind of get like a little feel for each other and kind of see like what we were working with each other. And yeah, we were both into the same thing. You know, we neither of us were the typical blood and guts deathmatch wrestlers. You know, we liked incorporating a lot of different elements of wrestling into our matches. You know, we weren't just like smash and go kind of guys, you know, where we just hit each other with weapons and all that. We wanted to work a normal wrestling match in that environment with each other. And I think we did a pretty good job of it. I remember both of us really enjoying the match afterward, and we both really liked working together. I think we just kind of clicked. You know, it's like every once in a while you work with like that one person that comes along that you just instantly like click with, that you don't have to work with to kind of get a feel for anything. And with G Raver, that was definitely it. I don't know if he feels the same way I do, but because you know he's worked so many more guys since then. But for me, like he was definitely a favorite opponent of mine, and like he got all the things that I wanted to do, and he wanted to do the same things I wanted to do, and vice versa. You know, we were both very protective of one another, and we both made sure that the worst things that happen in the match, we called for ourselves, really. So like neither one of us wanted to call anything bad for the other person. Our main concern was we wanted to make sure that we were protecting each other as it should be. And then just doing the lucha stuff at the beginning, we both really liked doing the lucha style a lot. So yeah, we just gelled, and it was I've had very few opponents that I've enjoyed working with as much as G Raver, like right off the bat. So yeah, 100% still to this day when I go back and watch everything, that's by a long distance, that's still my favorite match.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite ones of you too, man. Man, what's the magic of VOW? It feels like every time it was always different. It's like when you seen Cannonball there, he was always on his A game, a different Cannonball. When we seen you there, you were always just on another level. It just seemed like, is it Bill? Is it Bill that brings it out? Is it just, what is it? That was it, that YMCA place? I mean,
I
what
don't
was the
really know,
magic?
actually. I don't know, because I was like that. It was like that even when they were running in the theater in Pennsylvania. Like
Hmm.
I think it was the crowd more than anything.
Yeah.
Because if you go back and watch my VOW debut there, it was like me, Trip Cassidy, Dale Patricks, and Connor Claxton, and nobody knew who the fuck I was. I had never traveled, you know, any further than Ohio going east, and I mean, I had done like King of the Death matches the year before, but I don't think anybody knew me from that. Or if they did, it's like, oh, is that guy from King of the Death match? It's cool. But like right away, like right off the bat, they were into me, and they were like, and like a lot of people were like you know doing the Bueller thing, like from Ferris Bueller and all that kind of stuff. But like for whatever reason, people were just like instantly invested in me, and I still to this day don't know why. And that just kind of carried over. So for me personally, like if a crowd is into it, whether they like me or not, but if a crowd's into the show in general, I mean, that's going to make me, you know, give as much as I possibly can, to either, you know, like to everything I'm doing. And obviously, if the crowd's into it, I'm going to want to do crazier and crazier shit, because everything I do is for shock value. But yeah, like I just I don't really know what it was, but VOW, like I always wanted to do, like there was a handful of places that no matter what, I wanted to try to make sure that I was having the best match I possibly could. And that was like this place, Infinity Pro, that was out in Indiana that isn't up anymore, but that was one of them. VOW was another one. Like no matter what, I tried to have the best match of my entire career every time I was in VOW. But yeah, I couldn't really tell you exactly what it is. It was just a different atmosphere, and it was awesome. Like I missed the shit out of it. I wish they were still running.
I
I
know,
mean, not
me
that I can
too.
really do a lot if they were, but I would just love to see the shows if they were still running.
Yeah, me too. Bill, you need to find a place ASAP. Um,
Yeah, fucking
Cody
get on it,
Hunter, he
Bill.
wants to know what? Sorry, man. What?
I was saying, fucking get on it, Bill.
Yeah, fucking Bill, hurry up, man. He's too busy with that new indie connection. That's his new thing. Cody Hunter, have you watched The Tiger King? I've seen this. Have you seen this fucking thing?
I thought about starting it. tonight, actually, because I saw it. I finished up season 3 of Castlevania the other day, which fucking awesome. But I'm a big nerd for the Castlevania series anyway. Like, I love the Castlevania games. But yeah, so I watched it, and after you're done watching a Netflix show, it'll pop up with like, hey, you can watch this on Netflix. Maybe you would like this too, like just different recommendations and everything. And I just let it run. I didn't turn the TV off. So I looked up and I saw the Tiger King thing, and I saw the trailer for it, and I was like, what in the actual fuck? So I was already curious about it, and that's all I've been seeing. If it's not anything about like the coronavirus, it's people on my friends list talking about fucking the Tiger King, and like that, it's like everywhere now. So that makes me want to watch it just out of curiosity. Like, what the fuck are people like? What is all this? Like, what are people talking about? So I'm probably going to start that tonight. I'm pretty curious about it.
Well, I'm not going to
Expectations
spoil
are
it
pretty
for
high.
you. It's pretty good. I'm not going to spoil it. I think it should just be a surprise when you put it on. In IWA, you had a match with Thunder Kitty? No?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I
It
did.
wasn't a death match. Was this before you stepped into the death match game?
No, it was so originally it was supposed to be because it was Kings of the Crimson Mask was what the show was originally. And or no, it stayed that way, but a lot of the people that were supposed to be on there weren't able to make it. And originally what the match was supposed to be was it was supposed to be an intergender death match between me and Jules Malone from Canada. And I was looking forward to it because I had only done Prince of the Death matches. I was wanting to do more death matches, and I knew that a lot of fans were familiar with her, both from coming down with Jesse Amato from the year before, and from doing Queen of the Death matches that year. So and they were wanting to do this whole Randy Kaufman thing with me. So I thought that would be there was a lot of things that I was pretty excited for with it. So she wasn't able to make it.
Hey, Adam, your microphone went out. It's like real low now, your microphone. Once you moved your head, something happened.
Are we good now?
Yeah, it's kind of like just real echoey.
Okay, that's weird.
Like you're talking out of a can out of nowhere.
That is bizarre. Let me move it around slightly then. Any better if I move it?
No, it's the same. It's okay. Keep talking. It's not. You can still hear you.
Okay. So she wasn't able to make it. So the match got changed to just like a taped fist match with Thunder Kitty, and so the finish I thought I thought that I had a pretty good finish in mind for it, and we didn't have a lot of stuff called, but for the finish I thought hey, what if you put me in a Boston Crab, I'm not tapping, you get frustrated, and then you just start punching me in the dick over and over and over and over until I tap out. Which I thought that was pretty good, unique finish. So we match, and if I were to make a list of matches that I enjoyed the least, that would be pretty high on the list, to be honest. We just didn't gel well at all. I kind of felt like she was trying to dictate the pace of the match. I think she fucked up a lot of the things that I had called that I wanted to do. So I was getting frustrated, but I remember because the first IWA tryout show that IWA did, I was on, and I remember advice that Ian gave me on that show when he said, I know when something gets messed up. You know when something gets messed up. Don't let the fans know when something gets messed up. So just every time something got fucked up, I tried to hold my composure as best as I could. But for the most part, it seemed like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it just seemed like she was not so much that she was trying to take liberties with me. It just seemed like she was trying to make herself look strong at my expense. Is kind of how I felt. And I was still pretty new to IWA, so I was like, all right, whatever. At a point, I just wanted to get through the match. And I remember she gave me worst fucking Fez press into the punches I've ever fucking seen. Like going back and watching the match, like Steve Austin when he jumps on the dude and starts punching. We had that spot called. If you go back and watch it, she just kind of flops on me. Like it looks bad. Like if you go back and watch it, and I'm not criticizing Thunder Kitty in general, because personally, like I don't have any reason to say anything bad about her. I thought that match was the shits, and I thought that she was a big part of why it was the shits. I don't think that she's bad necessarily, because I don't give a shit about Thunder Kitty at all, really. Like I've always gotten along with her in person, but beyond that, I don't give a shit. But I think that she made that match look a lot worse than what it could have been. And at a point, like, actually, no, I want to backtrack when I say I don't want to say that she took liberties with me. As a matter of fact, I think she did fucking take liberties with me, because when it got to the point when she goes to give me the Boston Crab, she basically does it, like, in the style of when Jericho used to do the Lion Tamer thing. So, like, she has me at a really fucked up angle, and she's like, I legitimately, like, I couldn't get any air to, like, the air got cut off to my head completely, and that was from her giving me a Boston Crab because she had me bridged back so fucking far, and I literally woke up to her punching me in the fucking taint, basically, and, like, when I woke up, I couldn't move, like, I didn't know where I was, or anything, and yeah, that was the end. For whatever reason, she decided to do the fucking Boston Crab that way. I don't know why. Like, I basically I gave my body to her to finish the match, and she does that. And I don't know why. So, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that was pretty fucked up of her to do that. But, whatever. I got through the match. It was shitty. Thankfully, Ian continued to book me. Because after that, I thought, okay, cool. He's never fucking bringing me back. Side note on that show, too. So I'm not a very big fan of Mean Mitch Page at all. I think Mitch Page is a fucking douchebag, and for whatever reason, he just did not like me from the very beginning, and he would never fucking tell me why. Don't know why. I remember I was down there for King of the Death Matches 2014, and a friend of mine, who I'm not going to name because he was the center of a lot of controversy and personally, I don't think his name deserves to be said. So he comes up to me, he's like, hey man, Mitch Page doesn't like you. It's like, fucking lie. I've said, like, hi, my name is Adam, and that was it to him. He's like, I don't know, he was looking at it, he's like, I don't know about that guy, man. And I was like, oh no, yeah, no, that's Adam, he's cool. He's like, I don't know, man, I don't know about that guy. So it's like, buy him a beer, and I think that'll help the situation. All right, cool. So I buy him a beer, hey man, you know, this is for you. Cool. I don't know what the fuck to do. I've never bought a beer for anybody in my life. So and then, like, just for whatever so that's me meeting Mitch Page, is being told that he instantly does not like me for some reason. So on this particular show, for whatever reason, if he was within earshot, he had something shitty to say about anything that I said. Anything. I have no idea what it was. And eventually it got to a point where I just fucking asked him, I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like, do you just not fucking like me, or are you just fucking with me? Like, I can't fucking tell at this point. And then I remember, it's like, you gotta earn it, man. I was like, what the fuck does that mean? You have to earn it. What the fuck are you talking about? So, like, he just rubbed me the wrong way really fucking bad. So after that match is over, he ends up putting me over in the locker room. Like, Ian put me over, and then Mitch Page comes up, and then he kind of puts me over. It's like, yeah, man, I was giving him a bunch of shit, and he said this, and blah, blah, blah. And then he went back to being a fucking asshole. So side note to that show, fuck Mitch Page. Fuck that dude.
Brito, he wants to know what show was this? It was Crimson Mask, was it?
Kings of the Crimson Mask 2015. Because I'm pretty sure it was after I had done. No, I take that back. That was 2014. That's right. Because they were still running at the Rustic Frog in New Albany, and I'm pretty sure the last time they ran that was 2014. So yeah, that was actually before I started doing death matches. That was when I was trying to get involved in doing death matches. Now that I think about it.
Cody, he wants to know your opinion on syringes. Do you like them? Going through the cheek?
Nope, I don't like syringes. There are only two things that I ever said I would never ever do in death matches, and syringes. It was syringes and fire. King of the Death matches that I did with Dale Patrick's was originally supposed to have syringes in it, and this is when, ironically, the HIV outbreak in southern Indiana was real strong, and the county said they would shut King of the Death matches down if we used syringes, which me and Dale didn't want to do anyway, so we were pretty fine with that. I don't particularly like syringes in general, just because it seems too hokey, like too phony, because it's more or less like the thing through the cheek and everything. Shock value, and everything. So that's, when you do it through the cheek is fine, but I think in a lot of scenarios, it's that whole standing there letting the guy do it to you kind of thing. So it's hard to suspend your disbelief with that sort of thing. To me, it's the same thing as when you put a bunch of light tubes on a dude and he's holding them on top of him. Like, I get it, and we all know it's a show, but can we try a little bit harder? You know what I mean? And I saw when Brian Woods got him, I think he got syringes stabbed into his head or something. Shit like that is at least believable. Because I could certainly believe somebody picking up a syringe and jabbing it into somebody's fucking head or whatever. But for the most part, I think that the setup for him, it's too hokey. And it's very cringy to me, just because I don't like syringes, and I will never allow someone to poke me with a syringe, nor should they, because that's how you get fucking HIV.
True. Can you see this photo right here?
I can. I remember exactly what show that was.
Does that bring back memories for you?
A little bit, yeah. I actually like everybody in that picture, except for one person, who was the person that I mentioned earlier, that I won't bring his name up because he doesn't. Yeah, I'll just tell you why. Come to find out, he was into underage girls, and that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, if you don't recognize him in the picture, then that's probably the guy. Because we all know Aiden, we know Josh, we know Reed, Murdoch, Trip Cassidy, myself. If you know Joseph Schwartz, he's there. So if there's a guy in there you don't recognize,
keep talking at him.
him.
I'm going to blow this picture. I'm going to make a full screen so everyone can look at it better.
Yeah, so basically the guy, I'll just tell you who it is, the blonde dude right next to me. At the time, he was probably one of my best friends. And since I've had no contact with him whatsoever, I have absolutely no idea where he's at or what he's doing now. He doesn't have any involvement in wrestling anymore, nor should he. But no, I remember that. That was I don't remember the name of the show. I remember I wrestled JC Rotten on it, and it was a pretty all right show. And then at the end, the whole show set up for this whole old school versus new school kind of thing. And then this was kind of the formation of the new school of IWA, basically, which I was very surprised to be a part of. I thought I didn't think that I was going to get any kind of rub from Ian being at IWA or anything, but I guess he wanted me in that group, or somebody wanted me in that group, and he just didn't tell him no. I don't know what it was, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I got to be in the ring with a few people that I thought was, when they did the whole old school versus new school thing, and I got to wrestle with a lot of the old school IWA guys that I watched, back from before I started working there. I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
Look at fucking Aiden.
Yeah, this is when Aiden was doing I don't know, he was doing this weird fitness gimmick at the time, I think. He used to carry a shake weight.
Fucking Aiden. Do you listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony? Do you fuck with Bone Thugs? Jesse wants to know.
Fuck no, I don't. Why would anyone think I listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony?
Okay, I'm going to ask you something else. This is just some topics going around the deathmatch community as of late. Marley Knox recently took her ball and went home. She had two death matches, and she retired. Thoughts on this?
I didn't really know much about her in general. The only reason why I really knew anything about her was from the deathmatch shows. All in all, I don't know. I don't think that she really. I never saw any of her matches. I don't know if she was any good or not. I know JC Rotten put her over pretty hard, but after Southern Sickness Cup. But beyond that, I don't know. It's no different than hearing about some other person I've never seen wrestle retire, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on it, really.
Cody Hunter, I take it you're not a big Thumbtack Jack fan then? Because you don't like syringes?
I actually did like Thumbtack Jack. I just don't like the syringe spots. But I mean, fuck, just because like that was like his main thing doesn't mean that the other stuff he did I didn't enjoy. It's just I just don't like watching people get stabbed with syringes. I mean, I won't shy away from it, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's kind of my opinion on it. I don't personally like getting stuck with syringes. That's a completely different matter. That I am pretty cringy on. But watching it, I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay, whatever. But yeah, I think Thumbtack Jack's fucking awesome.
Dream match Japan, who would you take? If you could
Active or
take on anyone. Anybody. Past or
anybody?
present. Yep.
Oh. I mean, the obvious
Japan
answer is
death
Jun
match. It
Kasai.
has to be a death. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, if it's got to be a death match, then fucking Kasai. There's no question. Who wouldn't name Kasai?
Hell yeah, good answer. Okay, this is the part of the show where MDKC stalks her Facebook and tries to find the youngest picture we can of you. This is what we came up with. Can you explain this picture? You look very, very young here.
So that was right around 2004. I was 20. That was when I was first starting out in wrestling. So the way that I actually got started wrestling was that at this place, it was originally called Dayton Championship Wrestling. Now it's called Dynamic Championship Wrestling, because I think they actually still run. Originally, I was a referee for them. I mean, as you can see. And the way I actually was able to start wrestling was that they used to run in a flea market every week. Well, they were doing a show at the flea market, and they didn't have enough people show up. So they just asked me, "Hey, you bump really well. Do you want to wrestle?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do." So that's how that started. But yeah, this is back when I was a ref. This was after a bunch of people probably ran out and beat the shit out of me. Fun side note too, because there actually are some people, some notable people that were there with me at the time. Excuse me, not on this particular show, but Jake and Dave Christ. This is the same place that they started at, and they were leaving right as I was coming in, but that's where they started at, was DCW. And a guy who most likely was probably on this same show with me and is probably one of the people responsible for giving me the bloody nose. If anybody knows Jeremy Ganger, I know he was in one of the Carnage Cups, but what most people know him for is when there was the attempted nightclub shooting in Dayton, Ohio, where the bouncer ended up stopping the dude from coming in with the gun and everything, and he was recognized and all that. And like even WWE recognized him for it. Yeah, he actually wrestled for DCW at this time, and he was one of the guys who would come out and beat the shit out of me as a ref. So that dude actually is probably responsible for that bloody nose that I have in that picture.
Damn, that's crazy. That's an awesome
Right?
story. I was hoping we were going to get a story out of that picture.
Oh yeah, there's a story for almost. It might not always be a good story, but I'll have a story for almost anything.
Okay, Vic says Jason Saint was the dude that you were talking about. That's the name. You don't have to say the name. Someone did it for you.
Nope.
I've never really
mentioned that name probably ever.
I never
again.
heard about all that, but it sounds fucked up, man. Animal Crossing.
It came to light around the start of the year.
Fuck him. We don't need to talk. Let's talk about something loving, wholesome, and fucking downright cute. Animal Crossing, right? Why are you obsessed with it?
Dude, I'm not obsessed with it. It's a game that I really, really enjoy. And see, a bunch of people are like playing Animal Crossing for the first time. I ended up playing it back when it was on GameCube. Like I remember buying it the day it came out, because I would pick up like the Game Informer magazines that were talking about it, and I just thought this is like the most like the coolest sounding fucking game ever. Like all the different shit that they were doing, it was so far ahead of its time. Like a dude popping up and getting shitty with you when you turned your game on if you didn't save it before you quit. Like it was so fucking cool, and the fact that you could play Nintendo games on it, because this was before emulators and all that kind of stuff. Like there's just all kinds of cool shit about it. So like even from the very first one, I fucking loved Animal Crossing. And then when this new one came out, like when they first announced it, I got really excited for it. Then when they pushed it back, I got pretty butthurt. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean, if you get pissed off about a game being pushed back, like it's only to its benefit. So there's no reason to get to like be shitty about it. But I mean, it was disappointing that I had to wait another 4 or 5 months for it. But yeah, it's awesome, dude. And I see a bunch of people asking about it, like what is the deal with Animal Crossing? Like, what do you do when it? I like people who have never heard of it before. It's like I don't understand the point to this game. Like there isn't a point to it. Like
There
it's
isn't.
like watching Seinfeld. It's a game about nothing.
I'm a big fan of it too, and I'm waiting for your code so I could come visit your island someday. I want to see it, man.
So fun thing there. You'll never be able to. No one will be
What?
able to because
Why?
because it's not because I don't want anybody to. My Switch is hacked, so I can't go online with it.
Oh.
So
Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
I actually got it. Yeah, I started playing Animal Crossing. Like I got a hold of it 2 days before release date because somebody leaked it and I downloaded it and put it on my Switch. So yeah, I don't pay for games. Like I hack systems and I download the games for free.
Well, that sucks. I was really looking forward to bringing my little MDKC character to your island and maybe stealing some fruit and riding out.
Dude, I got like 5 of the 6
I
fruit on
want.
there. You ain't stealing shit. Unless you're bringing peaches, you ain't stealing. Oh no, fuck, it's pears. Unless you're bringing pears, you ain't stealing shit.
Yeah, man, my island has fucking pears. What's yours? What's your dominant fruit?
Mine started with cherries, but I have all of them but pears now.
Awesome. Yep, Animal Crossing's good. We're playing Animal Crossing talking effects right now as you're talking too. You got to go back and watch the
I did.
replay, Adam.
I did. I just recently got the recipe for a barbed wire fence. So what I'm actually thinking about doing is like up on like the higher part of the like where you can't where you need like the ladder to go to. I was gonna make like a little barbed wire ring and make like an Animal Crossing Fight Club area and do like in the design tool. I was gonna make like little blood splatters to put on the ground in it and shit.
That's awesome. So going back to what we were talking about earlier, do you feel like, you were on kind of, you wanted to get the message out about the HIV, like your message about the safety and you being in
Mhm.
the ring. Do you feel now that it's been almost a couple years now? Or has it? It's been 2 years, hasn't it? Do you feel you
It's been
got your
1 year. Yeah,
oh, 1 year, sorry. Do
it's
you feel like you
yeah.
got your message out to the people enough?
I I think for the most part, because at least as far as like being able to be booked locally, because before all this, before I ended up getting cancer again, I had 4 shows booked that I was going to be wrestling on. I had one in January, February, March, and April. So I was actually going to still try to do the April show, but because of the coronavirus stuff, it got pushed back. Um, but yeah, I think I've done as good of a job as I can do of destigmatizing the whole thing in as far as wrestling goes. There's still tons of people outside of wrestling that still have that same opinion on it and still believe a lot of falsehoods that simply aren't true about it, as far as like contraction and different things like that, and how much of a danger that I am, and me being contagious and things like that. Basically, there are people out there who are going to look at HIV like they're looking at the coronavirus right now in terms of
Hmm.
how easily it can spread. Um, but at least as far as like my in my world of pro wrestling, I think I've done a pretty good job of educating people and kind of getting them to open their eyes and destigmatizing everything as far as best as I can do. I would go as far as to say that me attempting to chill everybody out on it was successful.
It's funny, Adam. You don't want to fuck with syringes in the mouth, but look at that. You'll take a drill in the mouth, huh?
I've done that like 4 times too. That's the really fucked up thing. If there's a power drill in the locker room, I'll be like, "Hey, bring that out. I got an idea for a spot."
What's the craziest spot you think you've done or taken or gave to someone?
Fuck. Now I got to think about stuff. I would say, I mean, if you were to ask people, they're going to probably tell you when I got the fish hook through the mouth at King of the Death matches. But I would say the craziest thing that I've done as far as like a spot that I've caught or anything like that, probably they're both probably VOW. I'm trying to think of like some other things too. I don't know. Most of them involve like if you were to tell if it, other people, if you were to ask them, would either say the fish hook or me either double stomping a bundle of light tubes or me jumping barefoot into like missing a double stomp while barefoot into tacks or light tubes or something. Beyond that, what I personally think is probably from VOW when me and Dale Patricks were doing the match where we had to climb up on the platform and grab like the little axe handle thing. And I had him throw me off the platform and I landed onto a ladder that was set up on the guardrail and the ring apron. So there was like no give to it. And it wasn't like a huge fall. I would say we were probably up maybe 10 feet, maybe. And I just kind of took it like a front flip over. Except I don't like heights. I don't like being high up in the air, and I don't like being 10 feet in the air even. So I kind of like fell off shitty. So I almost went, instead of going straight forward, like flipping straight forward, I kind of went at a weird sideways angle. So I just landed lower back first onto the ladder with the rest of my body, not even like basically just falling off to the side on a ladder that had no give to it whatsoever. Because I remember going into the back and even Matt Tremont being like, "God damn, dude," and he's taking some shit. So like, yeah, if it was enough to kind of get a reaction out of Tremont, then I would say venture to say it was probably pretty crazy. If you go back and watch it now, like it's on the end of one of my highlight videos. I think the 2016 highlight video on YouTube. I go back and look at it. I don't think it was anything special, but then again, I don't think anything that I've ever done is anything great. But yeah, I would say that's probably the craziest that I've done.
Awesome. Cody Hunter, he wants to know, did you watch the Benoit show last night, The Dark Side of the Ring on Vice?
I watched part 2 of it last night. I had already watched part 1. I mean, it was more or less. Yeah, it was more or less kind of what I expected. I do think that it did a really good job of kind of because ever since it happened, you know, it's been rife with conspiracy theories, and I think that it did a good job of kind of doing away with it. Like, it gave a really good explanation as to how Benoit could have been capable of doing it, rather than, oh yeah, there's no way it could have happened. It had to have been somebody else. Had to have been somebody else involved, and all this kind of stuff. I think it did a really good job of explaining it. That yes, Benoit probably did do it, and he probably did. You know, I can't talk. I don't know why. Because yeah, if you go back and you look at it, it sets it up really well as far as talking about how he didn't handle Eddie's death at all very well. Like how that, you know, he was just like a different person after that. And then, you know, they talk about the head trauma that he suffered and like him probably having a really, really severe case of CTE. Also him like and a lot of people blame it on steroids and everything like that. And I don't think steroids were involved in the incident, but it definitely would have had an effect on his personality. You know, so like when you take all those factors and the fact that, you know, they talk about how he and Nancy were fighting a lot at the time and, you know, different things like that, you know, it's not outside of the realm of possibility that he just snapped and reacted and just took it too far, basically. Which I think a lot of people want to believe, because nobody wants to believe that Benoit, like a guy that we all loved and that we all watched for a super long time, and that is legitimately probably one of the best wrestlers of all time. Nobody wants to believe that they actually, you know, committed these acts and that they were actually capable of doing it. But if you go back and you watch part 1 and part 2, I think it did a really, really good job of kind of painting the picture of exactly how Benoit would have been, not necessarily why he did it, but why he would have been capable of doing it, so to speak. But it was really, really good. Like, I think all of the Dark Side of the Ring episodes have been really good. Like, the first season was phenomenal, and the second season I think is going to be even better.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that show too. Right now, we're looking at clips of your match with Colt 45 at IWA Deep South Carnage Cup 11, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts on this particular match? Did you think it was good?
I thought it was better than it was going to be going into it. I think Colt is awesome in the deathmatch stuff. And then going back to, how when I was talking about how me and G Raver went about our match from at VOW, I like to do a similar thing. I don't want to go right into just weapons and blood and gore, and I don't want to like just jump right to it. I always like to have my death matches to have as much wrestling as possible in it. So I remember going into it when I was working with Colt, and I was kind of explaining the spot that I wanted to do with him. And I wanted to kind of do a little bit of chain wrestling at the beginning, and then the way we get into all the weapons and deathmatchery and all that kind of stuff is that like I wanted to do a thing. And there was a spot that I like to do where he has me in an arm ringer, I roll forward, I spread his, with my feet, my hands, I kind of like get him to widen his stance more and more and more, so his balance is more basically so he can't keep his balance as well. And then I basically slap the hands, push him forward, and then he just kind of falls back into all the shit in the middle of the ring. So I told him like that's how I would like it to be, like a progression, and I wanted to go into it that way. And I could tell he was like kind of confused, so I wanted to go over it with him a little bit. So I was like, yeah, so you give me an arm ringer, like go ahead and like I'll actually show you. Go ahead and give me an arm ringer real quick. And that's when I learned that he didn't know how to do an arm ringer. So I was like, oh fuck. And I mean, I didn't hold it against him. Like I even showed him like how to do one at that point. I was like, okay, I really want this match to go well, and so I'm going to show you exactly what to do here, and blah blah blah. I think that it's just. I think that it's because he mostly did a lot of the hardcore stuff. And I don't know. I haven't followed his career from the beginning or anything like that. But I just don't think that he really did much. I don't think he did very many matches where he had to do that kind of wrestling. So I didn't hold it against him or anything. It's like, you haven't done it, you haven't done it. So, so I looked over him a little bit beforehand, and I was like, yeah, so that's how you do that and everything. So going into that, because arm ringers are they're kind of day one stuff, but if nobody showed you, you don't know. So I didn't hold that against him, but it did kind of make me think that the match wasn't going to be quite as good as I was hoping. But then once we got into it and we got going and everything, there was like a couple missteps here and there. But that's to be expected when you've never worked with a guy before too. But beyond that, I was pretty happy with it. I thought we worked pretty well together. I would have liked to have worked more with him. But
I
yeah,
thought it was a good match.
I thought,
I liked it.
yeah. And I know like a lot of people that were talking about Carnage Cup, a lot of people said that it was one of the better first round matches too, which made me feel pretty good. Anytime I receive any positive criticism about my wrestling, it makes my day. So, so I thought it was really, really cool to hear. Like it made me feel really good about it. But yeah, I thought it was fine. I would have loved to have worked with him a second time.
For all it's worth, I get all the hate for Kevin Brannon, but I can't lie. I'm a fan of Carnage Cups. Like, I really love a lot of them.
Like
There's been classic moments. Like, I understand all the hate for whatever he's done and said, but I still do like Carnage Cup. So if there is another one, I'll be there live.
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy watching them. In fact, if I can find them here, I'm actually rummaging through my what I call my pirate stash here. Let me see if I can find them here.
You're a master pirater, are you, man?
Dude,
Let's talk
I've been
about
doing
that.
this for years, man. Yeah, like if I were to just pull these out, I mean, fuck, there's a shitload of fucking Deep South shows right there.
Holy shit.
So yeah, man, like I like watching Carnage Cup. I just don't like the guy who puts them on.
Yeah, fair enough. Cody Hunter, he wants to know why barefoot matches. Why, man? Why?
Because Ian asked me to do one for King of the Death matches, and then people kept booking me in them, and I didn't give a shit enough to say no.
Did Ian Rodden give you a lot of advice when you were there? Because he seems like he would be a wealth of information.
He did a little bit. He didn't necessarily give me like a ton of like direct advice that I can remember, but like I would just listen to him talk. Anytime he was talking to anybody in the locker room, I would listen. Because fuck, he's done more and he's gone more places than I'll ever go. So I mean, shit. I mean, you can think what you want about him, but the dude knows pro wrestling. And it would be stupid for me to not listen to him. So yeah, like and he did give me that, what I mentioned earlier at the tryout show. That always stuck with me a lot. But beyond that, yeah, like he was always a nice enough guy to me in the locker room. But at IWA, if I heard him talking to anybody or giving anybody any advice, if I was an earshot, I always made sure to pay attention.
Okay, I want to ask you something very serious, Adam Bueller. When I was a little kid, my mom brought home a painting, and it terrified me when I was about 10 years old. I remember having nightmares about this fucking painting, like literally. And when I was looking for pictures on your fucking Facebook today, you made me terrified again, man. It brought back all my childhood fucking memories. What the fuck are you doing with that evil ass painting?
So that was a card shop that I used to play Magic at a few years ago. For anybody who doesn't know, I've been a gigantic Magic the Gathering nerd for my entire adult life since I was in the 5th grade. So I play a lot of Magic, and that's, if you look in the background, those are what the cards are in the glass case. So this is a store that was about an hour away from my house. I used to go play at a lot. And I went in there and they had the fucking Vigo painting. So I was like, holy shit, I'm going to get a picture with this. Because, fuck, I grew up, I still to this day, I fucking love Ghostbusters too. But it was a big part of my childhood. So yeah, fuck yeah, I took a picture of it.
Yeah, I'm just joking. That's an awesome picture. When I was younger, though, it scared the fuck out of me. So I thought it was funny
Yeah,
to
it's
see that shit. Now, as an adult, I probably would have it up in my house. Who knows?
I mean,
Cody Hunter.
if I had it, I'd hang it up.
Yeah, man. Well, you like evil shit. You're the Antichrist, right?
I mean, that's what people call me. So I just thought it would be really, really cool to do, like, because everybody does all these, like, they kind of tiptoe on the whole, like, the ones that want to do like the satanic gimmicks and all that. They just kind of tiptoe on it, and they're just like, I always thought they were kind of cheesy and hokey and everything. And I just said to myself one day, "Is like, fuck it, I'm just gonna just go all in and just say I'm the Antichrist." I don't need to do the fucking evil spooky bullshit. I'm just gonna be me but I'm just gonna be a guy who I'm just gonna fully believe that I'm the Antichrist. And that's either going to shock people or offend people or whatever, but it's still another layer to what I'm trying to do. It's still at least something. And I remember a bunch of my friends were like, "Dude, you're going to offend a lot of people. Like, you're going to lose bookings because of it." And if anything, it helped bookings. So, but yeah, like I just thought, like, nobody just blatantly calls themselves the Antichrist. They just tiptoe on this whole thing. I'm just going to just fucking go all in with it.
And cutting yourself, was that you probably answered this with Donnie last time on the show. I don't remember, but is that like a homage to Jun Kasai or no?
Yeah. So when I would do it on the chest, it was absolutely like a homage to Jun Kasai. The one on the picture that popped up there, I'll get to why I did that. But I remember the first death match I did, which was Prince of the Death Matches. I thought for a minute, because I was like, okay, like, even if the match isn't good, I still want to do something that's going to make that I wanted to do something that people would remember. Because if you go back and all the different, like, we can all think of like 20 or 30 different just crazy things that we can remember, like moments in deathmatch wrestling for IWA alone. And I wanted to be one of those things. I wanted to do something that people would remember that way. So I thought, it's 2015. We're in Southern Indiana, and yeah, there's a lot of deathmatch fans here, but a lot of the fans here are like local fans, like people in the area. There's not, I don't think that there's a big community of fans that traveled to this show. There are probably a few, but not a ton. Derek actually, from Unsanctioned Pro, he actually did travel to that show because he wanted to see me get fucked up. But yeah, so I thought about it, is like there's probably a lot of people that if they know who Jun Kasai is, they aren't going to be super familiar with his matches. So on one hand, I did want to do that because Jun Kasai is one of my favorite wrestlers, of all time. So I wanted that to kind of be like, it's like Teddy Hart doing the backflips as like a tribute to Owen Hart. I wanted that to be my thing to Jun Kasai. And then on the other hand, I thought a lot of people haven't seen somebody do that. If anything is going to get people to remember me and get me to stand out, that's going to be fucking it. So there's two reasons behind it. And because of the reaction that it got, it was like, well, fuck, I'm just going to keep doing it then. So yeah, it absolutely was a homage. But the first time it was a combination shock value and Jun Kasai. And then after that, yeah, it was absolutely Jun Kasai 100%. I did it on my wrist though, because I started to notice people would get disappointed if I was in a death match and it didn't have light tubes in it, because I had done it so much. I did I cut my chest in every death match that I was in with light tubes. So people would get disappointed if I didn't do it because they expected me to do it. And then at that point, when people expect me to do it, I have to do something different. Like I have to kind of up the ante a little bit, So I thought, you know what? Fuck it. What if I just took a broken piece of light tube and I just fucking ran down my wrist with it? That's going to be pretty shocking, right? So yeah, that was 100% just to kind of change things up and just to try to add a different layer to, like, I wanted to do something people weren't going to expect, but still also shock them at the same time. And
man, when you would do it, you had a certain way to do it. It was just like, man, it looked crazy when you would do it.
I mean, I just ran it across. Like there were times where I did it and I did it way deeper than I meant to. But every time I did it, I'd have a pretty good streak of blood coming out of it. But yeah, I would just grab it, and adrenaline is a hell of a drug, man. Like adrenaline's fucking awesome. You don't feel shit when you're on adrenaline. Not an actual drug. I mean, like just being, just you have so much adrenaline flowing through you and everything. And yeah, I would just do it, and sometimes I would just run it across, not realizing how hard I was pressing. And I would look down afterwards, like after the show or after the match, I get to the back and I'd be like, "Fuck, I went too far this time." So the worst was actually from this particular match. Actually, it was with the one that I did with Devin Moore, where that was probably the worst that I had cut my chest up. I actually still have I'd have to lift my shirt up, but those are the scars that stand out the most. Were the ones that I did from Devin, and I still have the scar going across my arm from when I did my wrist there. So SMRT.
Cody, he wants to know where the fuck do you even download pirated Deep South shows? He says he claims he's never seen that before because it's Deep South, kind of underground.
So back in the day, about 10 years ago, like I used to be, and this is when like torrents were a really big thing. Torrents really aren't much of a thing anymore. I mean, they're still out there, but they're not as prevalent as what they used to be. There was a particular torrent site, and it's still up. It was just called PW Torrents. And then there was like Extreme Wrestling Torrents. There was a few torrent sites out there for just wrestling, but PW Torrents was definitely like the main one out of all of them, and it's still running. But yeah, anytime like a major indie show would pop up, it would come out. So sometimes people would rip just the show itself. Sometimes people would make a duplicate of the actual DVD with the menus and everything, and then they would end up uploading that. So the Deep South DVDs that I showed, those are like the actual ISO copies, like the full DVDs with the menus and everything. But yeah, back then, anytime a show would come out, somebody would upload it, and you could download it. Like I used to have. Now, almost all of this came from PW Torrents. I'm going to show off another thing here. This is actually I've given away a lot of this, but
I'm still
some of
here. I
it,
got
like this
you
is what
on
I still
full
have
screen.
left. So a lot of that came from PW Torrents,
Nice.
and then I have some of these
Holy
are legit,
fuck.
some of them aren't.
You got a lot of
But
shit,
there's
bro.
like 2 rows back of a bunch of stuff there, and yeah, like I said, I'm super into Magic. But yeah, like I just used to download the shit out of wrestling shows, and I still have a lot of them. A lot of that, there's nothing really newer than like 2011 in there. Like I just saved everything from back when all that stuff was super easy to pirate.
Any crazy stories like late night, 4 a.m., you're playing Magic online and some dumb shit pops off?
Not really. I mean, 4 a.m. I'm usually sleeping or going to sleep.
Well, here, Cody
Um,
Hunter, he wants to know worst experience with a fan. Kind of the same kind of question. You got social anxiety, you said, correct? So this might be in heightened if you met a crazy dumb fan.
I mean, it's hard to really think of any experiences that I had with a fan. Definitely, like I haven't had any bad experiences in person. I've definitely had bad experiences with fans online. Um,
Yeah.
but I can't really think of anything in particular because once it gets stupid, I just hit the block button. Um, but yeah, for the most part, I've always had pretty good interactions with fans in person. The closest thing that I could say that I've had as far as like the worst experience that I've had with a fan in general, when I was wrestling for Fighting Spirit Pro, it's like a week after King of the Death matches. This place out in Northern California. Me, Dale Patricks, Trip Cassidy, and Jake Oman all drove out there for a show, and I guess I had pissed off the crowd so much from what I was told by the promoter that there were fans waiting outside for me. And then thankfully they were all gone when I came out. But yeah, like I was like afraid that they figured out which car was mine because Indiana plates. I was afraid they'd find out what car was mine and they'd like fuck with my car or something. But yeah, my friend who was running the show told me like, dude, don't go outside for a while because those people are fucking pissed. Like they were throwing trash at me and shit. And like after the match, I went into the crowd, into the bleachers to just antagonize people even more. They were already throwing shit at me.
That's
So yeah, they
hysterical.
were. Yeah, so had I gone outside at the time, I probably would have gotten the shit kicked out of me.
That's a great story. Eric wants to know, would you ever pirate RF video stuff, or have you? Because
Dude,
it's Rob
Rob Feinstein
Feinstein and he
doesn't.
touches little boys, so it might be
Yeah, Rob
okay to
Feinstein
steal.
doesn't deserve. He doesn't deserve a dime of anybody's money. Fuck him. I have RF video stuff pirated here, and I will pirate RF video stuff if there's anything I want in the future if I have the ability to.
Yeah, you know
So yeah,
what? We need to do a big watch party this weekend and put the Nick Gage fucking RF video shoot interview for free. Fuck him. Let's
yeah.
see
No,
what's
I
the
won't.
story. But oh,
I
hold on,
come
I
to
don't
think
want
of it.
to ask it.
I
What's that?
think. Let me see if I still have it. I think there is one show that I actually have given Rob Feinstein money for, and that's because I don't think well, no, yeah, the dates don't line
I
up that
gave him
way.
a
I
lot of
can't
money
say.
in the past.
So there's this show. It's hard to see. And oh wait, I can flip my camera around.
Uh-oh. Maybe you can't. Okay, guys, bear with us. I'm sure he's going to come right back in. We're on this is the deathmatch 2 hour special tonight. All right, here he is. We bring him back, guys.
Okay. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
here he is. He's back. You can't
I
do
saw
that, apparently. You can't. Oh, shit. Now he's gone again, guys. Okay, hold on. He's coming right back. We're going to wrap it up here in about 10 minutes. Drop your questions. Get your last minute questions in for Mr. Adam Bueller. He will answer anything. Where is he? Okay, now this shit's getting awkward. There he is. Here he comes. Adam Bueller, he's back.
All right. Did it lose me again?
Yeah, it's all good, bro.
All right. Yeah. So I'm not going to hit that button again.
What were you trying to show us, though?
All right. So there is this DVD that I got from a show that I was on. This is the only thing that I've ever bought from Rob Feinstein ever. That's the only thing he ever will. That's the only money he'll ever get from me. Beyond that, yeah, he's not getting shit from me.
Okay, hang
I don't know
on
why I
one
still have-
second. I gotta upload this picture because someone's asking something. And I got the picture to show to go along with it. There it is. Okay, Cody. Cody's asking you, he's a big fan of you, man. He wants to know the bunny mask. Is there a story behind that? To G Raver? Here's a picture
Not
of it.
Not really. So I'll preface that with this a little bit. So I have a really bad habit of anytime I'm doing a match and I'm wrestling outside of the ring, or not even if I'm just outside of the ring in general, I have a really bad habit of grabbing a fan's drink off the floor and taking a drink of it. I don't know why I do it. It's just I just walk around and I just grab a drink and just and put it back. Um, there's actually a picture somewhere that I got tagged in of me just chugging down a Gatorade bottle that I picked up off the floor. And it actually kind of bit me in the ass at Carnage Cup because I did it at Carnage Cup and it was a beer. I thought it was a can of pop. Uh, so that was disgusting. So that being said, um, me and G Raver were just fighting out, out in the crowd, and I just thought I saw a bunny costume or a bunny head on the ground, and I thought it would be really funny to just put it on. So I just picked it up and put it on.
Dude, that match was underrated and really awesome that year. What promotion was that? Because they didn't do a whole lot, did they?
No, so that wasn't necessarily like for a promotion. So that was for a thing. What's up? Okay. And my roommate told me to be more quiet. So, no, that was for a show that I guess Bill was kind of helping out with. It was for like this big thing. It was called White Trash Bash. It was like this big, like it was supposed to be like a little, like it was like a concert thing, but then they also had like stand-up comedy, and they were going to have wrestling for it. Like Necro Butcher was on it, the Hooligans, and Brad Cash, and me and G Raver, of course, and all that. So yeah, it was just wrestling for the sake of wrestling on this thing that Bill kind of helped him put together. So yeah, I mean it wasn't really any for a specific company or anything, but yeah, I remember the match being it was all right, but it was cold as shit once the sun went down because I thought we were going to wrestle when the sun was still up. But it just got really cold, and then the fans fucking sucked because they weren't there to see wrestling. I mean, the fans honestly almost kind of killed the match in a way, but yeah, it's still fun. That was the first time I'd ever done Panes of Glass. So whatever question that one dude had earlier about me doing it at Slave to the Death matches, I don't remember that. So as far as I remember, that was my first time doing Panes of Glass.
Well, Adam, we've had you on 2 hours. You almost have the world record for the longest death hour ever. You and Aiden Blackheart now. I think you just beat his record, though.
Fuck yeah, fuck you, Aiden.
But before we go, I gotta I want to show you my favorite picture of you of all time, hands down. This is just my opinion, but I
Okay.
love this fucking picture. Maybe it's because I was there live watching it, but man, here it goes. I fucking love it.
I like that one a lot too, actually.
It's so classic, man. Timeless. It lives on forever.
See,
And
the
look at
thing,
Drew. Look at Burning Hammer. Look at his face.
the one thing I don't like about that picture is that nobody knows that there were thumbtacks on the other side of that guitar.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have that information, then it just looks like I'm being a fucking idiot.
Hey, drop your questions if you got any last second questions here. We got one from Brito. He's an administrator here. He wants to know your thoughts on Ludark.
I fucking love Ludark. Ludark is the shit.
Hell yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I remember I met her at in 2014 at like when I went down for King of the Death matches, and then the next day I was on a show, the 600th show, I think it was. I wrestled on that show, and she was on it too. At the end of the night, for whatever reason, I remember we were there till like 2 o'clock in the morning at the building still, and me and her, we were just kind of hanging out, talking to each other a little bit. So we kind of, just kind of chit chatted. And I remember I had to drive Yuki, like the Japanese fan that comes over here for death matches a lot. He was there. I had to drive Yuki and I had to drive Ludark to the bus station. For whatever reason, that just got tasked to me. So I ended up driving them there. And then when Ludark came out for King of the Death matches in 2015, when I saw her, I didn't think she was going to remember me or anything, but, when I saw her, I, went up, extended the hand, like, hey, I'm Adam, I went to do the whole big thing. Cause again, I didn't think she was going to remember me. As soon as she saw me, she's like, she gave me a big hug. And I was like, holy shit. So not only does she remember me, but we're on fucking hug status. But no, Ludark's cool as fuck. Yeah, I mean, it's you don't really see very much of her like down in Mexico unless you really go out of your way to find her stuff. But I know she was on like a Zona 23 show where she did like the exploding barbed wire, and IWA still brings her up. But yeah, no, my opinion on Ludark is she's the shit. I fucking love Ludark.
Hell yeah. She's supposed to be coming on the Death Hour very soon, Adam.
Very cool.
Dumbest thing you've done in a match, Cody Hunter. You can't say the bunny, he says. No bunny mask.
Oh no, that's far from the dumbest thing I've ever done. Fuck, I have to actually think about that. I can tell you the match that I acted the dumbest. It's on my YouTube page. It's like a triple threat match. I think it's on my YouTube page, but it's a 3-way match that I did on a show that I didn't really care too much about. It's like a local show. It was like me, Anthony Totelli, and this dude named the Celtic Nightmare. And I had a friend of mine. It was like there was a girl I was talking to at the time, and I brought her to a show. So that was encouragement for me to act like a fucking idiot and like just basically take the dumb shit that I normally and like turn the dial to fucking 10. And on top of that, two of my best friends that wrestle, they just weren't wrestling on the show. Two of my best friends were also in the crowd, so that was also encouragement for me to act like an idiot because if somebody laughs, that's just encouraging me to continue to be stupid. So I remember doing that match and just. I mean, I still, I took the match seriously and everything, but I definitely just acted like a fucking goof the entire time. At one point, I cut a promo because we all came out, like, we all had title belts from, like, it was like a joint show. We all had title belts from different organizations, but they were all replica belts. So I came out saying that because my replica belt was the ECW replica belt. And so I came out saying that my replica belt was better than everybody else's and all that shit. I cut this stupid promo where I actually forgot the letters of the company of the belt that I had. And that wasn't just a promo. I legitimately forgot the letters. So I just kept doing stupid shit. I just kept taking their stuff and throwing it like for no reason. Like if I saw it, like one dude's belt was sitting there, so I just grabbed it and threw the belt. I threw the dude's jacket. I went to throw the other guy's belt, but then his manager grabbed it. We end up wrestling outside of the ring at one point, and then I ended up going up to him, like, because he stopped holding the belt while we were wrestling outside of the ring. I ran up and grabbed the belt that he kept me from throwing, and fucking threw it. Like, I ended up just Harry funking a chair into the ring behind my head. Didn't even see what was. I just took it and threw it behind me and hit the ref in the eye with it. Like,
Oh my god!
I seriously just acted so fucking stupid. At one point, I'm on like the outside of the ring, up like by the corner, and I see like there's like a false finish, and dude has him pinned, and I'm on the apron trying to break up a pin, just going like this. like it was just so stupid. Like I acted like an idiot on that match the whole time. But like it's that either if I wasn't doing death matches or anything, I would just be a fucking stupid comedy heel, but not even like actually doing comedy shit. I would just act like an idiot the whole time. So yeah, if you go look at that, that's probably vintage Adam acting like an idiot. That's the best example you're going to see of that.
Before your deathmatch career was cut short, what like were you what were some of your goals? Like what was your number one goal? Because it's pretty much you're not going to do death matches no more, right? That's done.
Oh yeah,
You're trying to do normal matches, right?
yeah. Back to doing regular wrestling.
So we could say this then, since it's over. What was your main achievement you want? Was there anything high up there? Was it GCW? What was it?
Yeah, no, like GCW, I absolutely wanted to do. And I kind of feel like, and I approached Brett and because he was at Lord of Anarchy 3, and I talked to him. I was like, hey, I would definitely like to come up if you'd have me sometime. And I even told him like I live like an hour away from Marcus, so like I could. Marcus Crane. So like I could always ride with Marcus. I don't think he would care too much. And so like if there's ever an opportunity, like I would absolutely, love to come out and, and give it a shot, like if you have me. And then he ended up telling me like he didn't quite. I'm still kind of confused on it because I don't know if it was just kind of like him blowing me off in a nice way, or if it was like his way of saying that I was kind of on their radar or not. He basically just said like, we're watching you, just keep doing what you're doing, kind of thing. So like I didn't know how to take that exactly. But yeah, GCW was absolutely like that's where my sights were set at the time. Like, okay, I got to get to GCW. Beyond that, like Tournament of Death, obviously, like Tournament of Death, I feel like was the last major deathmatch tournament that was still active that I hadn't done. So I kind of felt like I wasn't I wasn't really like a full-on deathmatch guy until I did Tournament of Death. It's kind of how I felt. Not that I wasn't a deathmatch guy, but that I wasn't like one of the upper tier deathmatch guys, basically. Like I kind of felt like I needed to be in Tournament of Death. I needed to have that validation is kind of how I looked at it. So that was a big goal of mine, to win a deathmatch tournament that, people like were because I won the Hardcore Cup or Ultra Violent Cup from Mr. California, but that had like 6 people in it and like 12 people in the crowd. Like I wanted to win like a big deathmatch tournament. Like I thought that would be really cool. Like even, I like Slave to the Deathmatch, I thought would be cool as shit if I got to win Slave to the Deathmatch. So that was a goal of mine. Beyond that, like, I mean, shit, it's as far as deathmatch wrestling goes, the only goals that you can really have are, I want to wrestle here, or I want to win this tournament, or I want to be in this tournament. And I mean, that's pretty much where it was at for me. Like for me, it was, I want to wrestle in GCW. I want to win a big deathmatch tournament, and I want to just participate in Tournament of Death. So, and obviously Japan was like a major goal. Didn't even have to be deathmatch related. I just wanted to wrestle in Japan. I didn't care who it was for, just to be able to say, hey, I wrestled in Japan. So that I thought would have been really cool.
How was this experience with Mr. California? Was it really good or what?
Yeah, I mean,
because I know on your last interview you said that he, all the bad shit everyone says, but you never had problems with him. I know you said that.
No,
right?
No, I never did. I mean, he took care of me. He always gave me what he said he was going to give me. There was only one time I didn't have a return flight back, but that wasn't his fault. That was my fault. That was poor planning on mine. Because I had Crimson Cup the week after, so I didn't know if I was flying home and then flying back, or if I was just staying out there the whole time. And I unfortunately I gave him an answer on that when it was too late, so that wasn't his fault. But every other time he made sure I had a return flight home. And he gave me a place to stay if I needed it, not like at his house, but he would like put me in a hotel or something. So yeah, I have no complaints about Mr. California at all. Like he always did what I expected him to do, and he took care of me perfectly well. I think he liked me a lot because I think he brought me out more than he brought anybody else out, actually. Because I think a lot of people just came out one time. He brought me out 3 times.
Yeah, you were on a lot of those, I remember.
Yeah, he brought me out like 3 times, and like it was like every other month he was bringing me out, and I thought that was cool as shit. So he must have really enjoyed working with me. But yeah, it was a fine time out there. In my experience, I thought it was fine.
Okay, you brought up Crimson Crown. Fuck it, let's bring it up. How was that place to work for?
Oh, it was awesome.
We don't hear a lot. We don't talk about them a whole lot. You know, they don't get a lot of shine. I think they should get a little bit more.
Yeah, no, it was my experience out there was awesome. I mean, it was basically you had like the best deathmatch guys in the area, and then you had guys like a lot of like the up and coming guys in death matches, and then you had some of the bigger guys like Masada and Homeless Jimmy and all that. So I mean, yeah, it was when I expect we're doing this deathmatch tournament and we're going to get the best guys available. That's exactly how I thought about it. It's like, wow, this is like the bet, like the it guys in deathmatch wrestling, and for some reason Adam Bueller. But yeah, I thought it was fine. It was awesome. And I kind of wish that me and Neil were actually supposed to team on that one, but he ended up getting to the venue late, so things had to get changed around. But that's how I met Bobby Hollywood, and me and him got along really good, and kind of like had an instant connection with each other. So he's my dude. I love that guy. But yeah, and then I ended up talking to Neil a little bit after he got there. But yeah, it was just me and Bobby Hollywood got the shit kicked out of us by JD Horror and Masada. So, and JD Horror I had already known. Like we met at King of the Death Matches, and we did Slave to the Death Matches together. So me and JD Horror were already friends, and that was my first time working with Masada, which I was a little terrified of because it's fucking Masada.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything was fine. And the experience out there is really good. Kyle and Sage are awesome. They had us all over at their house afterward, like the night before and the night after. It was just kind of like a hangout, just like chill out and everything. And everybody was there for a little while. It was good. She took me out on her back porch and showed me a Black Widow for the first time. That was cool. And then
That's awesome.
And then that night, we were up. I was up talking with Homeless Jimmy. It was just me and him in the living room. We were just talking, shooting the shit till like 5 o'clock in the morning. Like Homeless Jimmy's fucking awesome. Like that dude is legit. Like one of the nicest fucking people that I've ever talked to. Like, and that dude's story is incredible, dude. Like that dude has had a fucking journey. Yeah, Jimmy's the shit. Fucking love Homeless Jimmy. The whole experience was awesome.
Hell yeah. Cody Hunter, what 3 matches would you recommend a newbie to watch of yours that's trying to, watch some of your shit?
Well, that's a weird thing to just start doing. Like, I don't know. I kind of feel like heroin is a better thing to get into than Adam Bueller matches. But number one, definitely for sure, me and G Raver from VOW, like without question, absolutely. Second match, I would say it was an old match from Infinity Pro. It was a 3-way match between myself, Dale Patricks, and Ace Perry, who is criminally underrated. He's not a deathmatch guy, but he's so fucking good. Like that dude, the fact that he's not working more places, I don't know if it's because he's just not wanting to work very much, or if just places aren't booking him. But if Ace Perry wants to work and you're not booking him, you're fucking up. I'll just say that. And And then third match, trying to think, I'll end up thinking of like 20 matches after this, but third match, if you're trying to get like a really, really, if you're trying to get a good like idea of Adam Bueller, let me think. I mean, I did a lot of barefoot Lego matches, maybe one of those, perhaps. Fuck. I don't. No, there's like a good funny match probably. You know what? Fuck it. The one I named earlier, the 3-way that with me and Totelli and Celtic Nightmare. Yeah, if you're wanting to see what Adam Bueller's all about, then yeah, me, G Raver, that 3-way where I acted like a fucking idiot, and then me, Ace Perry, and Dale Patrick's. They're all on YouTube too, so if anybody wants to go looking for them, they're there.
Yeah, and your YouTube channel, is that still going to be a thing, or is that just, was that just because you were in the hospital, or are you going to do more Adam versus Cancer channel?
I mean, maybe if I were still doing it now, I'd have literally nothing to put on it. But yeah, I probably continue it once like the treatment picks back up and things progress. Because yeah, the Adam versus Cancer is a separate channel. If you wanted to see the matches, it's just youtube.com/Adam Bueller. And then the Adam versus Cancer is a separate channel. But yeah, there's going to be some more content on there. I'm just not sure when it's going to be on there.
You were talking about a podcast on Facebook a few weeks back. Is that still something you're going to be doing? Because I think you'd be a very good podcaster, man.
I mean, I hope I'm not bad at it. Me and Steve Stone from IWA, if you watch like the old 2005 IWA, me and him are going to be doing it. And basically, we're just super sour and jaded on pro wrestling, and we don't have a very good opinion of the TV product. And we're going to be doing a review podcast of all the TV wrestling right now. So Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and AEW. We're still trying to get everything figured out as far as like how we're going to do it exactly. Because on one hand, we kind of want to do a quick review the next day of each one. So record on Tuesday. Thursday would be like a double AEW and NXT episode, and then Saturday would be like the SmackDown review. So we don't know if we want to do it that way or if we want to just kind of do all of them in one, like cover all of it just at the end of the week or something. I don't know. There's so much fucking wrestling. But yeah, that's still gonna be a thing.
Okay, let's take one more question. Have you ever wrestled outside of the States?
Nope, never actually been outside of the States before, which is unfortunate because I was supposed to wrestle in Mexico when I got all the cancer figured out. Before I found out I had HIV, the Hooligans actually hooked that up for me. I remember I was in the hospital and I got a message from one of the Hooligans, and they're like, "Hey man, this place in Mexico wants to bring you down." I'm like, "Fucking seriously?" He's like, "Why do you guys want to bring me down to Mexico?" I was like, "No, he asked about you, like by name." He was like, "Can you bring Adam Bueller with you?" And I was like, "Fuck, seriously?" So yeah, so I was supposed to. I think it was for like UGX, I think is the place. It's like where anytime the Hooligans go, they always take guys with them. It's like for that same place wherever they go to Mexico. I think like Aiden Blackheart was there one time, and I think like maybe Chewy Martinez goes down there too once in a while. I think, I don't remember, but yeah, no, that was going to be my first time ever even leaving the country. But yeah, beyond that, the closest I've ever gotten to the border is Los Angeles, or like I wrestled a place that was very, very, very North Michigan, probably like maybe an hour away from the Canada border, but that's about it.
Do you get a contact high when you hang around with Chewy Martinez?
I don't, because like when we were, at Crimson Cup, I don't know how I didn't get one. So because that was constant, it was everywhere. Like you couldn't
even in their match. They had it in the match, didn't they?
Yep. But yeah, no, I don't think I've ever gotten a contact high in my life. So, yeah, I don't know. It's not like I don't try to be around it. I think it smells awful. It's not my thing at all. Like my girlfriend is super into it, and thankfully she does it like away from me. Like she'll go outside and do it, and then she'll come back in and not smell like it for me. So that's super nice of her. But beyond that, like, yeah, no, I don't have a problem with it. It's not for me. I don't.
Yeah, man.
I
I
think it smells
even
disgusting.
respected you, Adam. I was gonna take a hit of weed here because this is such a long interview. But when your phone fucked up and you left for 2 minutes, I took a hit. You didn't even know it, man.
Didn't even know, man.
Well, man, I just want to let you know something. You are one of our favorite guests here. It's like just kind of talking to a friend. I don't even really know you that well, but man, I love when you come on. I hope we can get you back in maybe 5 more months and get you back on because I like you as a regular guest, dude. You're just fun, man.
Thanks, man. I'm glad everybody likes having me on. I like doing this sort of thing, and this group is cool, and it's like the only Facebook group I actually participate in. So, I mean, yeah, you guys are awesome, and the fact that you actually like me is fucking awesome. So, yeah, you guys are cool as shit.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time. If you're wondering, guys, we were debating the record of Aiden Blackheart is fucking shattered. Two and a
Boom.
half hours.
Get
Two and a
fucked,
half hours,
Aiden.
dude.
Get
Fuck you,
fucked.
Aiden. Your record is gone. Thank you so much, Adam. I'll let you get back to Animal Crossing or whatever the fuck you're gonna do tonight.
Probably that.
We love you. You're the man. Keep up what you're doing. We look forward to listening to you on commentary on Unsanctioned Pro when they return. You should write a book or some shit, man. Something.
I don't have the focus for that.
Get New Jack to write it for you.
There you go. I'll have him do it. I'll ghost. New Jack will ghostwrite the Adam Bueller biography.
All right. Well, thank you, Adam, and we look forward to you coming back on the Death Hour one day.
Anytime, man.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
brother. See you, bro.
Later.